Roll call, please.
Ms. Peng,
Here.
Mr. Romano,
Here.
Mr. Shi,
Here.
Ms. White,
Here.
Mr. Mohan Patel,
Present.
Mr. Baral Patel, Mr. Schneider,
Here.
Mr. Rivera, Mr. Vishal Patel.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Opening statement.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, C 231 Sunshine Law, copies of this public meeting notice were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 3rd and September 6, 2023. Members of the public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws of the board and applicable state regulations.
Thank you. My turn. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975, adjourned to confidential sessions for the purpose of discussing confidential student matters, personnel matters, health insurance, contract dispute, former staff and students litigations. So we're going to adjourn to the closed session.
Motion?
What time? Motion.
Second.
Okay, we'll be back by about 7 o'clock. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, we're back. Motion to reconvene?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to, we have student recognition, DMR Architects Summer Internship. Is any of them here?
Yeah, great. Maybe if I can talk a little bit about that,
Yeah,
Madam President.
Dr. Adirali.
So we're fortunate enough here to have a really robust partnership with multiple vendors and several architects that are currently working on the many fantastic projects that we have to address our overcrowding and the board's goal and mission here to beautify the schools here in Edison Township. And one of the experiences that I wanted to highlight and share tonight is an internship program for DMR Architects. They had, I believe, 3 students this year that had the opportunity to go to the DMR Architects headquarters, not only meet with the architects, but engage in the design process. Had really, really robust learning experiences. Were able to shadow architects and believe it or not, get on a job site here for our Herbert Hoover Middle School edition. And had the hard hats on, we're meeting with contractors, talking about plans and designs, and really had awesome experiences that really piqued their interest, right? It's always great to have students engaged with things that they're really passionate about, and these children see themselves as architects in the future, and any type of design process that we utilize only benefits whatever path that you choose, whether that's being an architect, business, education, anything along those lines. So I would like to thank our architects as well as our other partners that provide these opportunities as well too. I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight the student names as well also that would be recognized. We have Ms. Trishna Gomes, we have Sohan Sethi and Arnav Sadish. They had wonderful opportunities, sent me really, really nice letters explaining their experiences at that time. So I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge them. What we will do, we have some certificates for them. We'll leave them with their building principal. And hopefully we can spread the word and provide more opportunities for children to engage in real life experiences to advance their careers. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you. I just want to add one thing. I want to thank Mr. Jerry Sheet for bringing up this initiative in the beginning, before the summer, and it was great, very creative opportunity for our students. I hope more students would participate next year. It's a real working experience. I receive also these letters. These kids really benefit from it. So really want to encourage every students next year go apply. Thank you. Next, we have our student representative from Edison High School, Ms. Sharvi Padmanabhini.
Hello everyone, my name is Charvi Padmanabhini. I am the Student Council President at Edison High School. My board has recently noticed that our school has low spirit, so we've tried to implement new bi-weekly news videos that come out every Friday. These videos are engaging and have important information that will captivate students' attention. We've also started the fall season of sports at our school, and it is going well so far, and we hope they will continue to do so. Our students are enjoying the air conditioning and the cafeteria, and it helps make an academically filled day less chaotic. We are having our pep rally as well as Spirit Week next week, which will lead to our homecoming football game next Friday against New Brunswick. And the students are extremely excited for the school year and the new events we have planned. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a student representative from JP Stevens.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bill Tang, and I am one of the 2 co-presidents of the Student Council here at JP Stevens High School. With school starting about 2 weeks ago, our student body is gradually transitioning back to school and the classes. We had our freshman orientation on August 30th, Picture Day on September 8th, and started pushing out our school online magazine, the JPS Weekly. In addition, our fall sports and marching band begin, with our girls volleyball, boys soccer, and football teams having several games already. Moreover, we will be having our fall pep rally this Friday, the 22nd, and the JPS Band Festival on the 30th. To continue, we had our back to school night last Wednesday, the 13th, and our diversity, equity, and inclusion student leadership team here at JP also met with Ms. Patel to discuss and plan for what we will do for October's Week of Respect. And lastly, we plan to have our co-curricular fair on October 5th after school to allow for more students to browse the numerous club options here offered at JP. This concludes everything happening at JP Stevens High School as of today, as well as events in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll have Dr. Adarelli to give us a transportation presentation.
Madam President, before
Yeah.
we go,
Mr. Shi.
I think last year we asked the student representative from each school to bring us one issue that's in your school to every meeting.
Yes.
So what are the biggest issue that you see in the meeting? Starting from next time, bring us one issue. So let's see if we can resolve it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Same on the Edison High?
Yes.
I think he may have something to say.
Oh, you have one?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So we recently just met with our administration meeting, and our biggest issue in this case is just like overcrowding and AC, but that's not much that we can do about it as of right now. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Great. Okay.
Start.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to move up to the front because I actually don't like to sit down and present, to be honest with you. And at least this way, hopefully I can kind of gauge a little bit of the audience participation. I know transportation has been a hot topic, and many of you are here tonight. I'm hoping this presentation will answer some of your questions. I have my partner in crime here. We have Mr. Toth, as well too, our business administrator. And I know many of you in the audience have emailed me. If I have not gotten back to you, I am terribly sorry about this. You will have my undivided attention at the end of this meeting tonight. I know there's a few gentlemen here that we can talk about that, but hopefully today, what we'll be able to do is explain not only the positives, the things that we're doing really, really well in the transportation department, but the areas that we need to focus on, right? And we're going to be talking about subscription busing. We're going to be talking about our buses getting on time, the number of students that we currently have that we are transporting that are mandated on a daily basis. So hopefully this presentation will clarify some of those pieces. And during your public comment, I'm sure you all have individual issues exclusive to you and your child and your particular piece. That'll be the opportunity to say it. Does that sound good? All right, Mr. Toth? Yeah, great. So one of the positives here is in Edison Township, we currently transport almost 12,000 students. 71% of our population we transport. It's a tremendous undertaking to do this each and every single day. And I believe of those, we have probably about 2,900, almost 3,000 students that are subscription, like courtesy busing. And then we have the other pool. So there's really two pools of people that we need to transport. It's the mandated ones, the ones that are mandated by code and by law. And then we have everybody else that's in this pool. And this will be students that aren't entitled to it. And the board has had a long-standing policy and practice here of subscription or courtesy busing. Busing that's not mandated, that's provided as a service to the district. The board has been fortunate enough to run this for several years. I want to say 2012, 2011, might even be before that. So I do applaud them for that. But it is a tremendous undertaking to take these pieces. Mr. Toth? The first thing, and first and foremost, and I know we all have our our individualized pieces with regards to what we want for our own child. But as the steward and the person that executes all board policies, safety and security of all mandated students is my priority, first and foremost. And I know that we have individual issues with bus stops, which we'll get into in a little bit, but getting kids to school on time, consolidating routes so that they're efficient, right? Which sometimes leads to bus stops being moved from a preferred spot to one where students have to walk a little bit. And in certain cases, maybe even more than a little bit. We're aware of that, and we're working through those pieces. But safety and timelines are our first and most important piece, because that ensures efficiency, and I'm governed by policy and law. I will lose my certificate if I violate board policy. It's in administrative code. I have to adhere to board policy. So, which is probably what lands us in the situation that we're currently in right now. So, like I said before, we have two pools of people. We have those that are mandatory and the others that are subscription. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague right now who kind of can explain the differences between those two.
Thanks, Doc. That's going to be very hard to upstage, as usual. First, thank you all for coming out. Anyone here that's here in regards to transportation, I truly understand why you're here. I'm a father of 4 kids myself, so I understand each and every one of you and how difficult it is to get your kids up, ready to go to school, to and from, and then get yourselves to work. So I'm in this with you. So you have 2 types of busing. Mandatory busing by law, set by the DOE. So that says 2 miles and greater for elementary students, 2.5 for your high school students. We have to bus those first priority. We do not have a choice. Unfortunately, after that, we're able to do our subscription list. So you get an application in, you review that list against our street index, and if the application is eligible based on the index and their seat availability, you're given a seat for the fee. If you're not, if there's no seat available, then you're on a waiting list till one becomes available at a later date and time, if it should become available. All right, so our enrollment data. Just over the last year, our enrollment has increased by 375 students. That's pretty significant. What's even more significant is the mandatory and subscription data. So if you look at our mandatory busing, we're in the neighborhood of about almost 9,000 as compared to this time last year, which was a little bit less than 8. We've increased that by 976 students that we have to bus by law. Whereas our subscription, we dropped off a little bit, about 117. Last year we were just over 3,000, and this year we're just above 2,900. So all things considering, we're still busing just about where we normally do year in and year out for subscription students. However, we have 976 new students that need to be bused by law. So that takes up additional seats, requires us to get extra buses. If you think about it, that just at quick glance, that's like 18 extra buses, which, as you guys know, there's a driver shortage, there's a contracted vendor shortage, all things that are challenging, and we ask that you be patient with. But again, I'm a parent, 4 kids, so I get it, our patience runs thin. All right, total transported. So you can see here, we're up about 859 from this time last year. I mean, we are just about at 11,900 students transported. So year over year, we're having more students that are either mostly, in this case, mandated, but then we're still able to add a few subscription students when we can, when we have seats available. We always like to be able to add seats if and when we have that, seat availability, given route and which school, and from time to time. All right, we thank you for coming actually tonight. There's a lot of frequently asked questions because Dr. Ellie and I, we get emails, phone calls. A lot of this stuff is right online. You can go to the frequently asked questions section and click on some of the toolbars, and you can get answers to the basic questions. Know that we do want to get to your emails and phone calls, and we are looking to make things better and be responsive.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. And just in closing, what I want to talk a little bit about is maybe for the most people that get frustrated, or I had subscription busing last year and I don't have it this year, right? Those are some. Let me tell you some of the reasons why that could have occurred. The first reason is that your child might have gone from middle school to high school, and based on those particular years, you might not be eligible for it, or from elementary to middle, right? That could be the case. The other case could be is that you have always been identified as a walker, but got subscription last year, right? So somebody might have put your child on a bus when you actually weren't entitled to it. So the document, what we're slowly uncovering, is that the street index wasn't followed, and I can't speak to what happened before me. I really can't, and I understand that's frustrating, right? Because of the timing of it too. You were notified on August 28th. Many of you were anticipating getting subscription busing. You had 2 people that followed the street index as per board policy, and we wound up in a situation where you were frustrated, and rightfully so. And I do apologize for that. What I can say to you is this: if you were offered subscription busing last year and didn't get it this year because of the street index, it was to the detriment of somebody else. Somebody else was entitled to busing somewhere within that neighborhood, right? Or within that roster, or on that list at that time. So that could be one of those particular circumstances. We have people that were on buses as well too that never paid, that were entitled to subscription busing and have gone years without paying. And again, these are maybe parents calling the transportation department. Again, I can't speak to what transpired in the past. What I can tell you is I am going to follow the street index the way it currently is right now. But I do know this: it's flawed. I know that John and I could live next door to one another, and he's entitled to subscription busing, and I'm not. That doesn't make sense. I 100% agree with you, and we are currently looking at an equitable way to solve that problem, right? So I understand your frustration. I do. The only thing I can do is apologize for it. I really can. Perhaps better messaging at the beginning of the year might have been a little bit, might have eased some of the anxiety and been a little bit more, I wouldn't say forthcoming, because I tried to be forthcoming with that, but it would have provided you with the information. You still might not have been happy with it, right? You still might not have been happy with it, but at least you would know what my rationale was with regards to that. So the street index is something that I have to follow. I do know that it's flawed. We're currently working as a transportation department along with Mr. Toth to find some simplicity to that, right? As opposed to designating whether you're 1.2 and subscription and 1.1 and not, and the street in front of me gets it and the street behind me doesn't get it. I can't give you a rationale for it because I don't know what the parameters were for when it was created 12 years ago, right? That's when it was done. But I can assure you this: we're on top of it, and we're going to fix it. We're going to make it equitable for everybody in Edison Township that is not entitled to busing. Mandated. Here's some of the things that we can celebrate. I know the consolidation of routes might have been inconvenient for some. Kids are getting to school on time. Yes. I know that from building principals. We're still working out a few of the contracted routes that might come a little bit later. Yeah, it's a little bit more challenging. But our drivers are getting people to and from school on time for the most parts. And there's pockets where I know we need to address it. And they're getting home at a reasonable hour. We don't have, we don't have 5-year-olds on buses, that are getting home at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. That was happening last year. So we're constantly assessing our operations and looking to provide you, as community members, taxpayers, and parents, with a better product. You do have my commitment on that. My team and I are working diligently on that to provide you with the best possible product, because the last thing we want is frustrated parents. And you know why? Because frustrated parents sometimes, it leads to frustrated children at night too. Sometimes when I'm frustrated, it rubs off on my children when they actually listen to me. I have 2 that don't really listen to me that quite often. Right. So when that does happen, it sets everybody in a bad tone, and that's not how we want to start the school year off. We're about culture. We're about collaboration. We're about changing the dynamic here in Edison Township. So I know we have public comment later on, but I hope that provides at least a little bit of a glimpse and a rationale as to our thinking in how we approach this. Go ahead.
No, we really do. We understand the difficulties with the street index, and we are committed to making it right in an equitable way. The entire board's committed to it. It's going to be done, and it's going to be done with the entire index and subscription areas, overall, not just add a street here, add a street there, because that doesn't solve the problem. It's going to be a comprehensive review of all the streets and other areas throughout the town, and we'll build a reasonably easy to understand parameter. Because, I'm just where you guys are. I understand it from the parents' perspective. Things should be a lot easier in terms of signing up and determining if you're eligible and if you get the bus. But know that, we do hear all your concerns, so we thank you for coming out. We do appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
Mr. Toth.
Thank you, Dr. Adderley. Mr. Romano? Okay. Okay. Let's continue with the meeting. Yeah, we will have public comments time for you guys to come and at the end of the meeting. So now we have, Dr. Adderley, do you have some?
Sure. My administrative
issues.
report. Great,
Yes.
thank you. So on the heels of that presentation, we can go through the administration report currently. First item on topic, just a couple of some to highlight. We have our approval of our school improvement panel. This is something that's mandated by the NJ Teach Act and NJ Achieve. There are panels of administrators as well as teachers that collaborate together to improve instructional practices, right? They look at overall student data, student growth. They target areas of strength and they target areas of needs improvement. And we work with each and every teacher within these particular schools with the focus of improving student achievement, whether that's academic, whether that's social, whether that's emotional. We utilize concrete data to improve pedagogy and instructional practice, and we thank those people that are involved in that process as well, too. It's a real collaboration between administration and our teachers as well, too. We have the approval of an emergency virtual instruction plan. On the heels of COVID, all school districts within the state of New Jersey are required to have a plan, knock on wood, in the event of a pandemic, and the parameters are listed in regards to that. A couple other highlights. One that I actually really want to highlight right now is probably the one that I think that we're currently most proud of, and that's the approval of our district goals currently right now that are listed in the agenda. We went through a great process, I thought, over the summer, in which the board collaboratively got together and brainstormed through a protocol process that in concert with the board president and Mr. Toth, as well as other members of my administrative team, got together and really facilitated and fine-tuned what are some of the things that we value here in Edison Township, right? We value community, we value student achievement, we value a continued commitment to being fiscally responsible. So I think these board goals here really highlight some of the things that not only resonate with our staff, but the people on this stage, but our community members as well. Communication is paramount. We are committed to increasing our presence on social media, right? Because we need to tell our story as well. We are the #1 suburban school district in the state of New Jersey. We need to be the pinnacle and the model for what everybody else looks up to, right? We've got great innovation, high levels of student achievement. We need to celebrate those pieces. We need a more user-friendly website as well, something that's a little bit easier to follow. I can't tell you how many emails I get from moms and dads and even teachers, right? Locating information on our website is cumbersome. That's something that we're committed to. We're committed to long-term planning. A strategic plan is something that we are in desperate need of currently right now. It will drive our focus. It will be something that, in my tenure here, that this Board of Education and myself, we will talk about monthly or quarterly to update you on its progress and to invite you as partners in education to be a part of that process as well, too. So I can't tell you how proud I am of these goals, and I think that we're moving in the right direction here in Edison Township, too. Our preschool expansion is one of those goals, too, which Dr. Tui is spearheading as well, so I'm really proud of that as well. We have our curriculum and instruction reports. We have our approval of our PSAT testing dates. We have our approval of our curriculum guides, which is required to do annually, our field trips, which is wonderful that our board supports, and as well as their commitment to professional learning for our staff and our administrative team as well also. Our final two items are things that you'd find on the agenda every single month, and that is our pupil services report headed up by Dr. Tui. We have our out-of-district placements, as well as the establishment of some new special education programs based on enrollment currently right now. You know, and that's, listen, that's part of the reason why we are kind of busting at the seams, right? When you have great schools and a great reputation, right? Which is a testament and a result of excellent teaching and an excellent community and high-performing students. People are going to come here. So we need to expand our programs, and we need to grow our programs, not only from an operational standpoint, but from a financial and fiscal standpoint as well, too. And last but not least is our finance report, which I will turn over to my colleague.
Okay, hang tight for 1 second. Gotta pull all this out. This stuff. Okay, item 1 is traditional. We're going to approve the minutes. We also have, after that, our financial reports, approving of the bills list. We have our general contract section, standard, month to month. We also have, hang on one sec. Here we go. Contracts, more contracts. Cooperative bid renewal for gasoline. Obviously, we got to put gas in our buses along with our buildings and grounds vehicles. We have some change orders on some of our projects, zero cost. And how are they zero cost? Because we have an allowance in the project, which allows us to, when things come up or unforeseen conditions, we can utilize those allowances to charge those. We have a submission of a tutoring competitive grant, acceptance of Wish for Wheels donation, student waiver for breakfast meal. The board collectively got together, and again, much like last year, they chose to waive the $1 fee for school breakfast. So kids, get out there, take advantage. It's healthy and it tastes good.
And it's hot for high school.
It's hot.
Following it up on item 8, we have our non-public reports along with our non-public security aid program. Transportation, we're awarding a couple of routes. Today's presentation was pretty comprehensive, but this speaks to that. And then the last is the submission of the waiver for application for insurance reimbursement with regard to transportation contracts. And that's it.
Thank you. Now, do I have any comments for resolution only? Public comments for resolution only?
This is my first time on these meetings. I'd be interested in making comments on curriculum and instruction reports. Is it now or
That's
other
not-
time?
Yeah, that's now. You can come to the podium, yes. Name and address, please.
My name is Anthony Mara. I live at 5 Coletto Court. I went to the Board of Education's website and looked at the curriculum. Didn't look at every one of the grades, but I looked at most of them. And I have in front of me a print from the 12th grade. And on this page, it says, "No position will be taken on social, religious, moral implications other than explanation." And this is under the heading of human sexuality. So is it fair to say then that our Edison schools merely present information without any guidance as to what is right or wrong on this topic?
What is the exactly, this is 12th grade,
12th grade,
Yeah.
the title is Human Sexuality, and in this page 7, under Attitudes, Customs, and Morals, Values, Myths, Misinformation, and Gender Roles, no position will be taken on social, religious, or moral implications other than explanation. It sounds to me as if the teachers present information on this topic without saying what's right or wrong. I'm trying to figure out if that's correct.
I think that, to me, that sounds correct. Is this the phys ed class curriculum?
I don't know. All I know is what I'm reading here. human sexuality, wherever that's taught in the schools, phys ed or some other class,
In a health class, yeah.
So
health class.
I would presume, since I've taken human sexuality in our classes too, I think it's mostly based on the health aspects of human sexuality more than the moral aspect of human sexuality.
I find that reprehensible, appalling, that information on such an important topic is given without any moral compass. I ask, is there anyone in this room, anyone in Edison, anyone in this country, who would say, let us tell our children about truth without telling whether or not it's right or wrong to lie? Let's tell them that this phone belongs to Anthony Mara, but we don't have to tell them whether or not it's right or wrong to steal it. And several other moral standards like that. Those are moral standards that I'd like to think all of us agree on are, it's wrong to steal, it's wrong to lie, and so forth. To say that we present information on this topic without presenting a standard is reprehensible. Not me, but Edison, we're educators here. Are we not supposed to present a standard on this topic?
Board President, can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure, Ms. Michelle Patel, Mr.
So the world is not black and white, right? The example you gave about the phone, that's more black and white. Another example I can give is, I'm a teacher, let's just assume I'm Hindu. I cannot teach the students that Hindu is the right religious. It's his choice, it's his parents' choice. I can tell about what I follow, what I believe. I cannot tell anybody what's the right thing to do for that. So again, the topic you're bringing, I think it's not a public topic. You can probably have a conversation with Dr. Aldrali. We can have more people involved, but it's not school district's job to define everything and define everything as a standard, because not everything is black and white in the world.
Mr. Mara, if I could comment too?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So so all of our curricular aspects are tied to a standard. We're governed by, our curricula is driven and mandated by standards that have been adopted by the state of New Jersey and the Department of Education. So for your question, I think what you're asking is that piece tied to a standard? My answer would be yes to that, but I don't have the document in front of me. So what I'd like to do is take a look at that and maybe have a little bit of a deeper discussion. I think you're probably diving into what the actual lesson plans are, how it's delivered within the classroom.
Pretty much,
yeah. I get it. You're talking about pedagogy, right? How do we, the types of
I don't know that word.
Yeah, pedagogy is the art of teaching, right? So it's the delivery method of instruction, right? So what are the assessments that are utilized with those pieces? I think that's where you're going. Probably not enough time to discuss in a minute 58, that you have left. But I think I know what you're saying. I'd be more than happy to discuss this with you. But it's tied to a stand. Yeah, it could be right after this meeting right now. I could set up a time in the office.
How long does this meeting last?
It depends. But I can reach out.
Email?
Yeah. I mean, is Dr. Tui in the back there? If you want to give your information to Dr. Tui before we leave right now, Dr. Tui will take your information and you'll definitely, I can definitely reach out to you with that. Probably some more detailed questions, I would imagine, that you have as well, too. And not having the document in front of me, it would be hard for me to comment on it right now.
So,
But it's definitely tied to a standard.
Apparently, my time is running out, but one last matter. Apparently, the state of New Jersey has decided what is right or wrong, or maybe not right at all. They've put down the law on this.
They do. We are governed not only by that, but we're also governed by the types of assessments that are standardized throughout the state that we have to administer.
You're required to. Even if you say we don't like it, we want to teach otherwise, by law, you can't.
If I were to violate those pieces, if I were not to execute those pieces, we would be in jeopardy with not only our certificate, but it would place the district in financial jeopardy because they could actually withhold state funding at that time, too.
Sounds as if my battle is more with the state. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's probably a couple questions that I'd be able to answer too. So if you want to give your information to the doc in the back, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Madam President, if I could just, since we're starting the new school year, I'll make this statement just as a reminder for the public. I'm the board attorney, so I get to be the bad guy all the time. I just want to remind everybody who may or may not be here, frequent flyers or first time, and the board as well, just to remember that public comment is an opportunity for the public to make comments. It's it's not necessarily a complete back and forth, free-flowing discussion. So if you have questions or comments that are very specific to you or your child, just to remind the board and the public, this is a public comment session, but the best way of handling very specific questions that require responses by everybody is to contact the administration ahead of time. It makes it easier for us to actually get really good answers back to you, as well as not make, not take up time where we can't. So just
Understood.
a general disclaimer for everybody. I'm sorry, just to
You're good.
start the school year off with that, so.
Great.
Good suggestion. Thanks, Matt. Do I have more public comments on resolutions? On resolutions?
Okay.
If you're here for the bus, you would have
That'll
to
be
wait a
public
little bit. Yeah, that's public comments later on. Yeah, just hold on. Oh, Mr. Harish. Curriculum, yes, you can talk.
So Harish Tatineni, 45 McKinley Street. So we collected a lot of information and ideas and suggestions and of course complaints from different parents. And so in the curriculum section, for high schools, there was a parent suggestion, not one parent, several parents, that maybe AP courses could be offered in earlier grades, just like some other competitive schools do. So this is one thing that I wanted to convey to the board and administration. By the way, my daughter doesn't go to high school or middle school, so I'm not that knowledgeable on AP courses. So second thing, ratings, our favorite topic after overcrowding. So I know we had a detailed discussion about this in last to last board meeting. Moin Patel, Biral Patel, superintendent, everyone explained not to be that worried about the ratings and all. And we understand that there is US News, Niche, and Great Schools, and unfortunately Zillow uses Great Schools. And especially two schools, Menlo and JAMS, have been adversely affected in addition to other Edison schools. So parents want that the ratings improvement be made a goal for the respective principals of the schools. So is this something doable or not? I don't want to go into the history of methodology and how it affected Edison adversely, progression, and all that. We discussed that many number of times earlier. So, but we need to do something because it is not just the child, but also the parents' property values, because a lot of parents come to Edison solely for the good schools, and they come with the hope that by the time their child graduates from grade 1 to grade 12, their home values would have appreciated and they could use that to fund the college expenses of their kid. So it's both the child's education and the parents' financial situation. So unfortunately, Zillow uses Great Schools. Zillow doesn't buy or sell properties, but they give their expert opinion, and a lot of people follow that. So parents want that ratings improvement be made a goal of the respective school principals, not just JAMS or Menlo, any school for that matter. So that is something to consider and think about. Number third, in the elementary, I know I'm having discussions with Vishal Patel on this. They shifted from the traditional report card to the standards-based report card. And a lot of parents are complaining about this. Again, I'm not one of the affected parents. My daughter is in the traditional section. So they say that with the standards-based report card, they don't get a clear view of where the child is, where exactly the child is. Like basically in the standards-based, what we are doing is we are expanding the bands, and we are reducing the number of bands. So the child could be at the border, a lower border of the meet standards band, and the parents really want to know that. And another logical argument for that is, Middle schools and high schools, they followed the weighted average GPA system, and those are used for honors, AP courses, whatever, and a lot of other things, college admission also. So why are we shifting why did we shift to standards based in the elementary? Wouldn't it make more logical sense to prep the child about what he or she is going to face in the future? Regarding grade 5, I still do not know next year what they will be following. As of this year, they said that it would be the regular one. So that's all for curriculum.
Thank you. I'll address some of the AP issues. I'll leave the hard ones to you.
Yeah, sure.
So AP classes, I know we opened up a couple more this year, and we're constantly working on looking at more opportunities, opening more AP classes. We're working with the administrators on this, and I will keep you guys posted on. But I guarantee you, we are looking at this issue constantly. The elementary school report cards, we'll have to talk about more. We just learned that it was changed, and I'd like to see those report cards and see exactly what they entail, what they are missing. So we can talk after the meeting. And about the rating.
Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about the rating. And I could touch base on standard-based report cards as well, right? So the traditional model of getting A's, B's, and C's, or 90s, or things along those lines, right? It's definitely a shift. By the way, most other school districts, to be honest with you, have moved to a standard-based report card, because that's how you're measured, right? You're measured based on your progress towards a standard. So one of the things that we do look at, that standard's broken down into substandards with specific skills. So the student is able to, identify comprehensive text, right, and break those down, or make compare and contrast comparisons. I'm using English as a particular example. What's great about those report cards is that it actually fine-tunes how students are learning against a particular standard. So if I'm in 3rd grade and I'm exceeding the standard, right, I would imagine that I would probably be in a higher tier. I'd be in a 4th grade standard in any particular content area, whether it's mathematics, science, right? So that's how we measure growth. We would measure growth with your progress towards a standard. It's more of a growth model as opposed to a competency model. Does that make sense? Some districts have done what we've done too. We're slowly implementing it right now, as you could tell, in 5th grade, right? We are still exploring that option, right, with the potential to move into standards-based approach. But I do understand your concern. It's definitely a shift with regards to that. The first thing I would encourage anybody is to reach out to your child's teacher anytime that they have questions about their growth, right? And maybe they can kind of explain it in a manner that might be a little bit more conducive to how we were kind of trained in school, right, towards those pieces. But I understand what you're saying with regards to that. It's definitely a shift in thinking that we probably have to explain in a little bit more detail. As far as the school ratings are concerned, I understand. I'm not sure what measures greatschools.org uses, right? So one of the things I think that they do use is attendance. Along with their measurements, right? One of their measures, right? So if attendance may affect it, and again, those scores are based on data from a couple years ago, on the heels of the pandemic. So two things that happened on the heels of the pandemic. Number one, there's learning loss. There's 100% learning loss. The idea that students learned, there was definitely a demographic of students that had difficulty learning virtually, right? So that's reflected in test scores, without a doubt. Number two is if you remember, it was the transiency of everybody too. Like on the heels of COVID, we had multiple times where I think the mandates were if you were exposed to somebody, you were out 15 days, and then you had a 10-day quarantine period, and then it was reduced to 5. That also is attributed to learning loss as well too. So when Great Schools is utilizing that data as a benchmark measure, I understand why the rating would be low. I can tell you right now, nobody wants school ratings or student achievement to go up higher than I do. It's how this board should evaluate me, to be honest with you. The measure of success is student achievement. That's how we measure everybody in the room. That's how we measure our teachers. That's how we measure our administrators. So I'm confident that you're going to see improvements in those ratings. But the one thing that you should look at is our Department of Education website, in which Edison, and as well as our SAT scores, we are second to none in those areas, not only within the county, but statewide as well, too. So the guidelines that I go by are how we're measured within the state as well, too. And we probably need to do a better job, like we talked about, too, is sharing the good things, right? Being the loudest voice in the room about what we're doing really well here in Edison. But I hear you with regards to great schools. If you know anybody that works for that organization, you can give them my phone number, right? And we can maybe have a dialogue about how they're utilizing the measurement tactics. But I'm not sure what their metrics are, how they utilize that. But it's worth investigation. But you have my commitment that we'll improve.
Board President?
Mr. Biro Patel.
Yeah. So, Dr. O'Reilly, so that's correct. You said that last time as well. That is quite due to students being in and out due to COVID, first 14 days and then 10 days and 7 days. And another factor I think is the students who came back. This particular rating this year, is it considering the standardized test scores, which some of the students were taking the first time in their academic career?
Yes.
So that may have quite some significant impact in
Absolutely,
elementary school
because
rating.
100%, Mr. Patel, you're spot on with regards to that. When they waived the standardized test scores, right, during those times of COVID, students were exposed to those for the first time, where they could have been exposed in 3rd or 4th grade, and didn't have that opportunity. So that definitely was a direct reflection of the results as well, too. Thank you for bringing that
Right.
up.
So that being said, we are hoping that this year, when the new rating comes out for grade schools, even that should be significantly better than current year.
Absolutely. We're
Right.
confident.
Okay, great. So that being said, so I feel hopeful personally that based on this data, the rating should go up, but I would still want the administration to pursue greatschools.org.
Absolutely.
Because like Harish said, all the real estate sites use that. And a lot of people in this town, a lot of them buy properties for this reason, for the school ratings. It starts all the way from elementary to high school. It is one of the main reasons. So we have to pursue them. We have to pursue that organization. Yes, like anyone has any suggestions, please pass to Dr. O'Reilly, but if we can also take a look. So we have to sit down and review this. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Public comment, resolution?
Correct.
Oh, yes, please. Curriculum.
Yeah, I'm Pradipta Banerjee, 3 Miller Court. I just want to second what Harish said about the school report cards. I have a daughter in high school and a daughter in elementary school, and in elementary school I know at least 30 other families who are friends of my daughter, and all their kids are in elementary school. Literally everybody, 100% hates the new report cards. Like, I don't know anybody who likes it. Like, if there's any, I mean, this is just a comment, but if there's any chance we can go back to the traditional report card, that, like, nobody understands this new report card. It's all over the place. Like, in a particular section, there could be an AS, NS, ES. I mean, who knows what that is? Like everybody wants the traditional thing back. So I hope you reconsider the traditional method of scoring.
Understood.
It's much easier for parents to understand where their kids are on let's say on a score of 1 to 4 or 1 to 10, whatever the score is. It's easier for parents to understand rather than give like 50 different categories where it's all over the place, A's, EA's, NS, whatever. Nobody understands what it is.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe before you leave this evening, too, if we could get both of your gentlemen's names, if you could just give them to Dr. Tui in the back. I'll have my chief academic officer for the elementary school reach out to you, right? Have a little bit more of a robust conversation about the report cards themselves. Thank you.
And the curriculum committee will have a discussion on this too. And 5th grade, I don't think they'll change because that's used in the placement criteria for going to middle school. So, Beth?
Hi, Beth Talke. I have a couple things too. One about the curriculum that they're bringing up about the standard-based report cards that were instituted recently. I know change is hard, but I've seen it too. I'm one who likes things, the way they were. But I've also seen in the younger grades, in the elementary grades, that it more pinpoints the skills that the students need, that they're working towards, and it helps the educators, and it should also give the parents more insight into where your child is really excelling or where they might need a little bit more help. For instance, it might show that yes, your child can identify letters and be able to read words, but then it might show that they're maybe struggling a little bit with like comprehension questions, like who, what, where, setting questions. And I feel that these report cards give the parents a more concise picture of maybe where their kids are struggling, where they need the help, rather than just a random A, B, or whatever that doesn't explain where they're really excelling or where they might need that extra help. So I'd kind of look into it a little bit more before everybody just says it's good or bad. Look into it. Yes, they are more complicated. I think parents are going to have to kind of look at it more, speak to your principals, your teachers more on it, and you could get more insight into it. And I think it is helpful for the younger students. Questions on the personnel report. On number 20 for job descriptions, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, a new position. Anything on that, like what exactly it is, what it's going to entail? Because we seem like we have a lot of directors. I am happy to see that we finally got somebody in place. Dr. Cohen, I'm not sure, for a Chief Academic Officer to fill Gail's position. Great to see, but then also on page 16, you still have Gail listed there and her raise. I'm not sure if that was just an oversight or just there until we did the flip.
Yeah, Ms. Polakowski was here.
Okay, until
in
we
July.
did the flip?
Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
that was it. But can you touch upon the job description for the Assistant Superintendent of Operations, what exactly that's going to entail, and, you know, who they'll encompass and oversee and all that? Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. Excellent. So and we'll actually get around to action items too for personnel as well also, but with relationship to the operations person, it would be somebody that oversees everything that's non-academic currently right now. So that would be first point of contact for building principals, for things related to things that aren't academic, right? School safety and security. After it goes through Mr. Kassan, this individual would obviously be a part of that as well. Technology department, under the direction of Mr. Barca. Basically somebody that runs day-to-day operations, right? In an organization this big, the day-to-day operations, after it goes past building principals, right, and through a triage piece, it really kind of lands up at central office level right now, right? And as you can witness, as the many people that are currently sitting in front of us right now, I've got about 3,000 emails in my inbox currently, and probably some people that wanted responses to some of their transportation questions, and could have gotten those responses a little bit more quickly. But, as part of an overall vision in the team, this individual would be assisting with the day-to-day operations, working alongside chief academic officers, dealing with things that only have to do with things that are non-academic. So any operation that doesn't have to do with curriculum and instruction, this individual would touch. I hope, and the job description is pretty robust. I mean, it includes things like personnel as well too. Am I missing anything? Finance, transportation, enrollment, all those components. Oversight.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Early.
Yeah.
The gentleman in the back? Resolution only.
Esteemed board, my name is Sudhi Jana. I live at 11 Lily Court, Edison, New Jersey. I have come here to express the plight of a parent of 2 young kids who go to Martin Luther King Elementary School.
Is this about our resolution? If you're talking about transportation, that's public comments at the end of this meeting.
Okay, I'm talking about transportation.
Oh, then, could you please wait until, just a little bit longer? Okay, now, seeing none, we're going to have motion to end public comment.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll have to, motion to approve personnel report.
Motion?
Second.
Hang tight. Mr. Vishal Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Schneider.
Yes, but I will abstain on the chief academic officer.
Noted. Mr. Baral Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel.
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes, but I have to abstain on the chief academic officer.
Abstain, CAO. Noted. Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Vice President Romano?
Yes.
President Pang?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you.
Great.
Dr. Ray.
Yeah, at this time, I would just like to pause. I would like to, I'd like to introduce our new Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Rick Cohen, if you wouldn't mind.
Why don't you stand up
Yeah,
and look
stand
at the
up.
camera?
I did tell him he had to make maybe one comment there, Mr. Shi. I told him he might have to go to the podium and just, yeah, absolutely. So we're actually really excited to have Mr. Cohen. He was a candidate that went through a rigorous process and had a tremendous amount of competition at this time, but we're confident that he is going to be able to fill the very big shoes of Gail Polakowski and lead this district in innovation and curriculum instruction. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Mr. Cohen.
So I just want to start by saying thank you so much to the Board of Education, to Dr. Aldarelli, Mr. Toth. I'm so excited about this opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I love this work. I've been doing this work successfully for a long time, very passionate about curriculum and instruction. And I know I do, Dr. Ellie, you stole my words. I know there are big shoes to fill. And I know you have a very big and wonderful vision for the future of Edison Township Schools. As I told the board, my experience, my 20 plus years in educational leadership experience has taught me that there's an old proverb that's very true, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. I've had wonderful experiences working together, and I really look forward to working together with the board, with Dr. Aldarelli, Mr. Toth, the administrative team, the staff, especially as well with students and parents and the community as a whole, and I know together we'll go very far. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Next, motion to approve administration curriculum in instruction pupil special service reports.
Motion.
Well, that was a top. I'm gonna go with Mr. Romano.
I'm sorry.
It was close. I mean, that was like a dead heat.
Okay.
And I think I would second Mr. Shi.
Perfect. That wasn't me. That was Mo.
It's Mo. Mo.
Oh, was it Mo?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did I say it?
Was it you?
Yeah.
I guess I'll take the credit.
Like you always do. Yes.
I didn't say
Mr. Vishal Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera. Oh, that's right, he's absent, sorry. Mr. Schneider.
Yes, but I will abstain on letter A, the school improvement panel.
Abstain A. Noted. Mr. Baral Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel.
Yes.
Ms. White.
Yes.
Mr. Shi.
Yes.
Vice President Romano.
Yes.
President Pang.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Motion to approve finance report.
Motion.
Sorry, Jerry.
You got it.
All right.
Give it to Joe.
Motion by Mr. Romano, second by Mr. Shi. Mr. Vishal Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Schneider.
Yes.
Mr. Baral Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel.
Yes.
Ms. White.
Yes.
Mr. Shi.
Yes.
Vice President Romano.
Yes.
President Pang.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we have committee reports. Athletic Committee Chair, Mr. Vishal Patel.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to announce that an athletic committee met for the first time for this school year. School year, not the calendar year, school year. On September 12, the meeting was from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Attendees were Vishal Patel, Shannon Pang, Mr. Jerry Shi, Mr. Brian Rivera, Dr. Aldarelli, and Mr. Argis. He's athletic director for the school district. Middle school volleyball, last year we announced that the middle school will be interscholastic sport. Volleyball will be the interscholastic sport in middle school. So middle schools are ready to start the interscholastic volleyball sport for both boys and girls this year. The girls will play during the fall and boys will play during the spring season with 13 middle school volleyball teams. All gymnasiums in the middle schools are striped, and the volleyball pool system has arrived at each school system. Fall girls volleyball coaching staff has been confirmed for all 4 middle schools. Spring volleyball coaches will be advertised in the winter for the boys team. Uniform and other equipment have been ordered, like a referee stands, score books, flags, etc. Practices and tryouts will start in late September and will be competing with total 13 schools starting the week of October 9th. Some of those schools are Old Bridge, Monroe, Piscataway, New Brunswick, of course 4 Edison Middle Schools, Jamesburg, Timothy Christian, South Brunswick, and North Brunswick. We will have an intramural tournament between the 4 middle schools as well. The volleyball is picking up as very demanding sport. So if we just stay with one team, we are missing, not giving opportunities to more kids. So AD has decided to continue the intramural as well. So whoever kids don't make it to the interscholastic team, they will play in the intramural teams, and they will play among 4 middle schools. ADs have worked with Dr. Tui's office to organize a free sports physical night, to assist with the girls' volleyball medical clearance. So the whole process of volleyball was cleared late in the game, late in the school year, and parents may not have enough time to submit the sports form for the girls, because girls' season starts now. So ED worked with Dr. Tui to have the night where parents can come in and submit the form and enroll the girls in the volleyball team. The team selection criteria, number of players, etc., will be communicated in advance to the parents as well as to the students. Middle school volleyball coaches will be trained by the high school volleyball coaches, right? So till date, we did not have a volleyball as an interscholastics. So there are always some teachers teaching the volleyball, but they're not necessarily a professional volleyball coaches. So to train them, the high school volleyball coaches will be kind of conducting some training sessions for the middle school volleyball coaches. High school volleyball coaches will provide a practice schedule that entails warm-up exercises, skill training, drills, etc., to improve the middle school volleyball coaching. Again, it's the first year where we are offering this sport, so there is a learning on the middle school coaches as well. And high school volleyball coaches are going to step in to provide some schedule and framework to middle school coaches to conduct the trainings. Second topic was about middle school cricket. Middle schools are ready to start the intramural cricket for both boys and girls, so we are also introducing a new intramural sport in middle school for cricket. It will be a co-ed cricket where girls and boys both can participate in a team, and the sports will be played during the springtime. The team selection criteria, number of players, etc., will be communicated in advance. Athletic directors will provide a practice schedule that entails warm-up exercises, skill training, drills to improve the middle school cricket coaching. So one of the common themes is we are trying to improve the coaching for middle school, and AD as well as high school coaches will come up with a framework that the middle school coaches can follow. Third, high school cricket club. So we are also starting a high school cricket team and enrolling both high school into the club team. What it means is there are other high schools within Middlesex County. They want to have the cricket team for the high school. So we are forming a club between those schools, and then they'll be participating tournaments with each other. So high schools are ready to start the cricket club and play with total 5 cricket teams. It's 5 schools they have committed as of today. We may have more schools by the time the school starts or the sport starts in the spring. Those 5 schools are West Windsor, Plainsboro, Monroe, J.P. Stevens, Edison High, and Robbinsville. The team selection criteria, same thing. All the rules will be communicated in advance. The school district, in this case, like Edison School District is leading the setting of the game rules, format of the game, what balls will be used, because all the other district is looking at the Edison School District to lead these sports and then come up with the rules and tournament schedule. So I think it's a good opportunity for Edison School to lead the way for Middlesex County and maybe down the line even for New Jersey, to establish cricket as a standard sport within the high school. Multi-purpose batting cages will be installed at both high school. We don't currently have the batting cages where high school students can practice. So, the district is in the process of installing the multi-purpose batting cages so the high school students can practice. The fourth topic that was discussed was the district will set up a framework for warm-up exercises, skill training, drills, to improve the coaching for all the sports in middle school and high school. So one of the things that we want to improve, at least as an athletic committee, is coaching standards across all the schools, across all the sports. So committee has requested school administration to come up with a framework for all the sports where there is some framework that coaches can follow while they are coaching the kids. Another thing that we also asked, the committee also asked that to create a baseline report for all the sports achievement for both the high school. Because I know we say, okay, we are doing good, but how do you know we are doing good if you don't know what our starting point is? Now, the starting point exists sporadically in multiple places on our website. So the committee has asked school district to our administration to basically consolidate into one report so we can track the progress, how the school sports is, or how the students are achieving or getting better throughout few years of cycle. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments? No. Next, we have Curriculum and Instruction Committee report. Still, Mr. Vishal Patel.
Thank you. We had our same thing, first curriculum meeting for the school year, not calendar year, school year, on same day, September 12th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Attendees were Vishal Patel, Shannon Pang, Mr. Biral Patel, Mr. Jarishi, Dr. Alrali, Mr. Toth, and Ms. Heather Daniel. We had a bunch of topics that we discussed. I'm going to just review it one by one. The committee advised the school administration to share the videos and presentation using the health curriculum with every parent before teaching. So, I've been hearing that the parents don't know what the schools are teaching or what the teachers are teaching in a health class, particularly sex education. So we are going to try to share the content with all the parents up front. Now, there are certain contents that may be a copyright content, which cannot be shared in an email. In those cases, parents will be invited to the school district to review the content before they sign off or make a selection on whether they want their kids to go through the class or not. Middle school WIN period is underway. Marking periods 1 to 4 includes the use of the WIN digital notebook to promote goal setting, individual learning plans, and progress monitoring. Future plan includes self-paced learning modules and community engagement. So, it's a new WIN period that we are introducing in middle school. So, in the first marking period, kids are going to be allowed to set their own goals. In the future marking periods, we are trying to get some online education, some certification, where the school district and parents can track and measure the progress, what they are doing, self-learning themselves. The PS88 exam for all the 8th graders will be conducted in March instead of October 2023. The district will apply for grant-funded high-impact tutoring for the 3rd and 4th grader by leveraging the state funding to address learning loss due to COVID. So, there is state funding available to provide high-impact tutoring to 3rd and 4th graders. So, district is going to leverage that and offer that program to all the 3rd and 4th grader. Dr. Alderwally, one of the curriculum committee's goal was improve the teaching methodologies, improve the curriculum. And Dr. Alderwally graciously signed up to visit all the schools, each classroom, to observe the current teaching methods throughout 2023-2024 school year. Currently, the parent submits the physical copies of the health form. Starting spring 2024, all middle school sports form will be submitted online using Genesis. Again, it is to make the things easy, because typically the health forms are submitted during the summer or during the Christmas time, which is not the best time for parents to go to the school and drop off the health form. So we are trying to explore if we can use technology to make it easy for you. We're going to pilot it with the middle school starting fall. So for the spring sports, all the health form, we are planning to offer the online submission of the sport form through Genesis. The committee advised the Edison School Administration to offer at least 2 AP courses in the 9th grade, starting next school year in 2024. I know I heard a couple of, Harish talk about okay, why don't we offer AP classes to ninth graders? So, we have been attempting. We tried to do that last year. It was too late. I think this year we're gonna at least work with our new AD and Dr. Alderelli and see if we can make it happen for the next school year, where we can offer AP classes in a ninth grade. Some of the suggestions that committee made for those AP courses were AP Psych, AP Computer Science, AP World History, and AP Biology. Committee also advised the school administration to offer advanced computer classes, such as data analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence to high school students. School will explore offering some kind of club or kind of boot camp to offer some of these advanced classes, with the help of some volunteers. And then we'll try to see how we can add it, make it part of the course, sometime in future. Committee also advised the school administration to offer mental health classes, such as mindfulness, yoga, managing stress, managing emotions, etc. Again, we are gonna start those programs by leveraging some help from community. I know we may have some experts in the community who may be able to volunteer a few hours. So we're gonna start it as an enrichment program to all the schools. We'll see, how many volunteers we get and how we can introduce, but that's the plan. Committee also advised school administration to reach out to gradeschools.org to validate the data they use for the school ranking. I know there are some concerns on the school ranking, and school administration has committed that they'll reach out to grade schools and see what they use, and maybe we can provide the data that they are looking for, and hopefully it helps us to improve the ranking, quickly than waiting for a year on it. So, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Next, we have Finance Facility Committee reports. Mr. Jerry Shi.
Thank you. So the Finance Facility Committee had a meeting on September 13th. In attendance were Shannon Pan, Bishop Patel, Joe Romano, myself, Dr. Alderelli, Jonathan Toast, Jacqueline Becky, Bill Colibus, and Scott Murphy. There's a typo on the report. It's Shannon instead of Mohin. So if you can correct it. So the first item we discussed was the project labor agreement. Mr. Toast shared the basic knowledge of the PLA. Members need more time to digest. Two is we talked about the fiscal 24 project updates. There are a bunch of projects from DMR. Herbert Hoover, the gym is in construction. The target completion is July 2024. The TJ gym and front entrance addition, they are in construction to be completed by August 2024. Concrete footings have been poured, and the building switchgear has been approved by PSEG to be ordered. You can't go ahead and order the switchgear until you get a PSEG approval. So the JP classroom addition, the bids will be received on September 29th. OSC approved addendum. The JPS existing cafeteria upgrade, which if you go there, you will see the lightings and the paintings and the flooring. That's already been completed. The Woodrow Wilson and the John Adams locker room conversions to educational spaces, we bid it out before, but the price was too high. So we're gonna go out and rebid next week, which is this week. We also have a generator project for JP and the BOE Central Office. The construction is ongoing. The target completion is mid-February 2024. The JMI kitchen building, the construction is ongoing. The target complete is mid-March 2024. The JPS auditorium renovation, it's estimated to be about $6 million, $5.5, $6 million. It's going out to bid this week. The target to completion is 10 months, so it'll be done before the next school year. For USA Architect, they've been doing some other projects as well. The Edison High and JPS roof that was budgeted last year already completed. The Woodrow Wilson and John Adams addition, the site work is ongoing. Excavation of footings of John Adams begin over the next couple of weeks. And we also have multiple projects. We want to keep tracking them. The first is a Marshall classroom. We are designing a cafetorium, and there were two options. One is 15 classrooms, the other 23 classrooms. We all felt that we need 23 classrooms. The DMR did the initial design, and we're also asking the SSP to do a similar design. We'll compare it. The DMR design of 23 classroom addition, and we're also going to redo the multi-purpose room in the front. It's somewhere around $32 million. The JMI design is, the final design is getting close to complete. That is estimated about $18 million. In Edison High renovation, the SSP is working with Dr. Ross, Mr. Ross, on the what he's looking for. So that is ongoing. The JP cafeteria and the lab, this is very initial design, nothing, we haven't followed on that, but the initial estimate is about $16 million. And also, I shared before, we are also looking to a maintenance building, but that's about $4 million, and it is on a lower priority, so we just put it that for tracking purposes, so we don't lose it. There are two passes are being built. One is behind J.P. Stevens, behind the baseball field. We're putting in a pass to alleviate some of the traffic in the morning for drop-offs. And also, the construction is going on the John Adams, and we all know a lot of the parents that, the students use a pass in the back of Adams to go to school. So we're also going to build a temporary path, and this afternoon, I actually went over there. Our grounds crew has did a great job. They have cleaned up all the bushes, and the path is going to put it in very soon. But unfortunately, that's a wetland, so there are limited things we can do, but the path is coming. So regarding finance, raw grants, we all heard in the news that Edison received $1.33 million raw grants. And in order to maximize the grants, we have to, Edison's district's obligation is $3.35 million. And these grants are mainly for HVAC in elementary multi-purpose rooms. So there are other contracts that's coming up. Some of them we have already approved. One is a Pinnacle Construction. That is the construction management company. The dollar amount you see is $1.275. It's for 3 years. And we just approved a truck for the building grounds department. And Keystone Sports, they will redo the 5 tennis courts in Edison High School. We're going to do a milling, paving, and striping. The cost is $352,000. And the GMI boiler broke down, so we have to replace that. That's $95,000. And we just did a paving for Lindenau because I think the company who was doing the roof had some created a little bit damage with the Lindenau front area, so we're going to pave it anyway. So we just did that. And also, it was mentioned today in the finance resolution that we're going to waive the $1 a breakfast cost for all students. Just want to add something. For my report, there has been rumors outside saying that the committee, and especially me, rejected the PLA agreement, which is totally false. So we did not reject anything. Actually, we welcome the unions participating in our constructions, especially those people in the local Edison area. It's a very complicated process. So, we have no expert on this specific topic. So the request from the committee is to get more information so we can discuss it and for the full board so we can move forward with this. Again, just for the record, we welcome the unions to come here and participate in our constructions. We welcome especially those local unions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shi. Any comments?
Transportation.
Now we have board-member comment.
Transportation.
Oh, you did that, okay, perfect, sorry.
Okay.
All right.
No transportation reports. I have just a few announcements for the next meetings. Caucus meeting, October 12th, Thursday at Ed Center, 7 p.m. And next public meeting is October 17th, Tuesday at Edison High, also 7 p.m. Next, we have board member comments. Anyone?
I have
Oh,
some.
Mrs. White?
I wrote them down too, because I
Oh.
wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything.
Okay.
But I want to start off with this. In regards to the convocation, I would like to thank Dr. Adarelli, the administration, and all who were involved in making this event the success that it was. Positivity was the message, and it was heard loud and clear across the entire district. This was an innovative way to kick off the new school year, and I am happy that I was part of the first and hopefully many more convocation ceremonies. It was just beautiful, really was. I would also like to thank our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Will Colabas, and his assistant, Scott Murphy, for their leadership over the summer. Our buildings, grounds, and maintenance departments are amazing. Their efforts behind the scenes during the summer are essential to the successful start of the new school year. If you follow Will on social media, you'll see that the summer is when our district paves our parking lots, fixes our fence, does all an assortment of other annual improvements. Good job, John Kelly, Dave Fitzgerald, and Stosh, and all the guys for working so hard over the summer to make sure that our facilities are ready for the first day of school. I also want to mention our facility managers and their custodial staffs at each building for their hard work so that our students and staff are greeted by clean buildings and gleaming floors. These are some of the real unsung heroes who are getting the job done for our students and staff, and they just do it automatically. It's just so great to have them as part of our district. Lastly, the one-way traffic pattern and the opening of Gloria Avenue were completed on time, and it was an overwhelming success. From the feedback that we received from the administration at Woodrow Wilson and from the neighbors on Gloria Avenue and Woodrow Wilson Drive, thanks to Jen Blevins and her incredible staff for their part in the execution of this project. I also want to mention our bus drivers who kept things moving and didn't miss a beat. Not only did this improve the drop-off and pickup at the school, but it also created a route for emergency vehicles to have faster access to Woodrow Wilson in case of an emergency. All of this would not be possible without the joint effort of multiple township entities, including the Department of Public Works, Engineering's Edison Police Department, and the Township BOE Liaison Committee members, past and present. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to you, everyone that was involved in this hard work. It was a complete success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mohin Patel?
No, I just wanted to say thank you in regards to the Gloria Avenue opening. Although we've been working on it for a few years and finally it's open, I wish it was a little bit wider than what it is right now, and I brought that up several times with a suggestion of opening up Gloria Avenue to make sure that it was wide enough for our buses to pass through, and hopefully in the future we can open up that whole street and make it accessible so that the buses can easily pass through without any issues. And we'll bring that up to the committee next time. Thank you.
Okay, just let me tell you this. I was there at Woodrow Wilson from the first child that dropped off to the very last child that, went in. I stayed the entire time. And it was amazing because Gloria Avenue was that was the main thing here. And I counted. And from the beginning of the school day until everybody was in, 10 cars went down Gloria Avenue to make that right turn. It seems that most of our people go to the left. But, so it worked out great. And the reason why that street wasn't open wider was because they were afraid that they would end up with two-way traffic, and they can't have that. But that's the reason why it wasn't widened. They did a great job.
2/3 of that street.
Yeah, I just want to, say that, I'm very happy that Gloria is open. I remember clearly that I have a daughter at Woodrow, and Mohin has a son at Woodrow, and we always drop them at Gloria Avenue, and we passed by each other, and I remember Mohin brought this idea of opening up Gloria, and that's a great idea. That was, 2 years ago, almost.
Yes.
So finally it's open, even though my daughter is not going to enjoy this convenient drop-off, but I'm very glad that the future students and parents are going to be enjoying this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Board President, we're not going to
Mr.
read
Bureau
Transportation Committee report.
I'm sorry?
They did it.
Yeah, we did it at the beginning.
Oh, so that's
Presentation was
the
in lieu of the
Transportation
law.
Committee report was
Presentation
part
is
of
in lieu of
that.
the report, yes.
Okay, so should I go now for board member comments?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Mr.
Thank you.
Bureau.
Okay, awesome. So let's start with not so good stuff. Sorry, Dr. Elderly. And then we'll go over good stuff, I promise. All right, so not so good stuff. Everyone knows it's about transportation, right? So as Dr. Elderly and Jonathan told, so first of all, in the not so good stuff, I'll give you kudos for a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. You guys explained every single aspect of what's going on, which the board members know because we spoke with you and covered everything pretty much to make it very self-explanatory to people. So thank you so much, and I hope everyone watching online and those who are here understand what's going on behind the scenes and what's the situation right now. Now that being said, everyone knows the word accountability, right? So we are here for the word accountability, right? And Dr. Elderly very respectfully apologized as well for any issues that could have happened. So 100% to Dr. Elderly and John Toth, no issues about that. So thank you so much for that. What should have happened though, right? So we understand that in the past, let's talk about subscription busing. So in the past, the parents who were not eligible to get the busing, whose street index was marked as W for Walker, were getting busing. So that's wrong. They should not get the busing because that's how the street index is, per the policy, per the rules. And Dr. Elderly mentioned that. But they were getting it. So what happened is, one fine day, they opened up the parent portal and they see the pass and there is no busing. That should not have happened. We're going to get into the solutions. I know there are quite some solutions discussed and the board is going to look at it. Dr. Elderly and the team, I'm very confident they're going to work very hard and fix that. But that should not have happened. If I was a transportation committee chair, this question should have been asked in the month of February or March or April, that what are we doing come September? We don't leave parents as a surprise that when you open the parent portal, oops, you don't have a pass now. We don't do that to the parents. They have planned their lives around it. They have planned their work around it. Before 3 years, when they were getting the free bus pass, when they were getting the subscription bus pass, their lives were different. There was COVID. A lot of the parents did not have to go to work. They were allowed to work from home. A lot of things have changed. Many parents are required to go to office 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 days a week. And the offices don't start at 10 a.m. in the morning. They start at 8:30. For the people who commute to New York City, even more earlier. So, no. We don't leave them to open the parent portal and look at the bus pass and my child is not transported. So that's a communication. So the as a transportation committee chair, I should have looked at it. That was the plan for September. Everything good? Everything is going to open up smooth? That's the question. The board members do not make any decisions. And I have told this to many parents from so many days. First of all, the board members do not run the bus. They don't drive the bus. They don't operate the bus. They have no idea which bus goes where. They have no idea which student takes which bus. The board members have zero responsibility over there. The board members only speak with the superintendent, Dr. Elder, when a question comes to the board members. That is a fact, and this is what we have answered. Yet, all the board members are equally accountable. In last few days, only Jerry Shee and myself have visited many communities on the request of the parents and found out what the issues are. So, thank you. So that does not mean that it's Jerry Shee and I are accountable and we are the only ones who are in charge, because we got a lot of harassing messages from the community too. Some messages were really very intimidating, right? Because maybe people assume that we too are the one in charge and responsible for it, just because we spend time out of our office schedule, our work schedule. I know a day when Jerry took off from work half a day and went in one of the communities, and I did that a couple of times in some other communities. But board members are not responsible, and again, all the board members are equally accountable for that. Now that being said, we have formed a separate committee, transportation committee. So like Vishal just talked about all the curriculum stuff. Jerry talked about finance stuff. So there's a transportation committee. So this should have been raised. This should have been put in the agenda in the transportation committee long back before September, not to find two parents in limbo and miss their days at work. So that's what should have been covered. I know the transportation committee met, and I'm aware of what happened in transportation committee. In fact, I give kudos to Dr. Elder and Mr. Toth that they did a great job doing a lot of heavy lifting in place of what would have happened before. So thank you so much for that. Now, you will get
you'll have to wait until public
you will go through board president. So the other thing is, one is subscription, one is the bus stop. The bus stop issue, that is, as Mr. Toth explained, that is, I agree with Mr. Toth, that it is done for efficiency. So that's something that Dr. Elradi and Mr. Toth are going to look at it and improve upon which is most feasible, come up with the most feasible plan which works, most importantly is what is safer and which makes students reach on time. That being said, we have to change the street index. I would also comment on some parents here, right? Some parents have reached out to Mr. Toth and Dr. Elderly that I did not get the subscription busing from last 2 years, 3 years, whatsoever number. I did get it, and I'm not getting it now. So they were getting the bus, their street index was W, and they were getting the bus. Some of these parents have not even paid for subscription bus. Is that what we want to do here? We don't want to pay for the bus. We were getting the bus. We don't want to pay for it. And then we want to say, oh, can I get the bus now? Even though my street index says W. So the responsibility is twofold. The responsibility is for the community and for the administration. If you were getting a bus, you are not eligible, and you did not pay for it, first pay for it. Let me coming to the payment part of it. The cost of subscription busing is $625. Many parents do not know that it is a very, very, very discounted cost. Everyone knows about inflation. Everyone is checking their portfolio, their 401k and everything today, their property values and the prices at the supermarket. But nobody acknowledges, very few acknowledge, that the subscription bus is a very discounted price. There are some people who reach out, oh, my home is 2 miles according to this map, but I do not get a free bus. Okay. Now you can debate all you like with Mr. Toth and Dr. O'Reilly. There are hundreds of parents who did not get the subscription bus. Ask them how it feels. Ask them how it feels when you are not able to get to work, right? You're getting a free bus. Now you're not getting it because your home is now found not to be put within 2 miles. As Dr. Aldrali mentioned in the presentation, your home, there are so many mandatory transported students who have to be transported. That's the law. And that number went up. And it does impact the number of students who get the subscription busing. So every time when you get a free bus, subscription busing get impacted. Plus, those who are well in, those who applied on time, a lot of them got the bus who were eligible for it. Some parents reach out, I did not apply on time. They, as Mr. Toth said, they're going to open that up in October 16. So everyone can apply when it opens up again. But if you applied, if you are eligible, those who got the bus, the real cost is much above $625, right? A lot of parents have reached out in the past few days. They are willing and more than happy to pay the full price of the subscription busing, whatever it costs the district. Because every time district puts money on subscription busing, a free bus parent pays for it, a senior pays for it, a retiree pays for it, parents who don't have kids pay for it, parents whose kids don't take the bus pay for it or who are in private school, and the parents whose kids are graduated pay for it. So if you are a subscription bus parent, you really don't want others to chime in the cost for that. Now I got responses like that when I explained all this. Oh, we reduce traffic on the streets. Oh, well, then we should give buses to everyone then. We should try our best to get buses to every single person, even if they're half block, and there is no traffic on the street. Everyone knows where is traffic. Look at JP Stevens. In the morning, if we were to give many more buses, the traffic at the JP Stevens school will be incredibly better. Many students will be able to reach on time, right? So the traffic is not a discussion over here. The discussion is, okay, things are being done for good, for the right reasons, but I would go back to my comment again. This should have been looked upon in the month of February, March, April, May, June. In the transportation we knew there is a bus, the form out, but this was not out, right? So again, it's all the board members' responsibility, and everyone should look at it, everyone should look at it equally, and everyone should present ideas. And when someone reaches out, we have to send it to Dr. Aldrali because that's what we can do. We have no authority over it. But everyone should collaborate, work together, and try to fix this. That means the street index, that means subscription busing, whether we need to buy more buses, whether we need to increase it's very challenging to get bus drivers, very challenging. I want everyone to understand that. Extremely challenging to get a bus driver. So it's not going to be easy. So as a community, it will take some time, but that has to be fixed. But communication is the key here. We don't want a situation that happens next time when, okay, now this change, you don't have a bus. That's the responsibility of the committee chair to put that in the agenda, because as you saw the curriculum committee report today, there are so many things that are happening in the future are in the agenda. There are so many things in the finance committee that happens in the future were in the agenda. So if we put it in the agenda, then we follow through. When we follow through, there is action, and we can get things through completion. Edison is a huge place. 19 schools, several thousand students, and look at the number of, if you saw the presentation, look at the number of students who were transported. Significant number. It's a huge number. It takes a lot to run the district. So one of the things while being said, I 100% support and approve of is the assistant superintendent position. Dr. Aldrali needs help. There are so many emails he answers every day, so many phone calls, and Mr. Toth as well. There is tremendous workload. These guys do a great job, they need help. So I would ask everyone to support what Dr. Aldrali and John Toth are doing, and let's be supportive of it. And if any transportation issues, please reach out to Dr. Aldrali and Mr. Toth. And as board members, let's all of us commit that we will work together and we will fix this for the parents to the best. Not everyone can be happy. Not everyone is going to get a bus stop at their doorstep. Not everyone is going to get a subscription bus. It's a lot of students. But at least where it makes sense. A 1.5 mile distance to walk to the school is not a walking distance. It's something that has to be transported. So you have to work on a plan to get that happen. This is for the community, this is for the residents, this is for our neighbors. So as a board, we have to work on that and we have to plan around that. So that's about transportation. So it took long, but this is a hot topic today, so we had to cover it. And again, kudos to Dr. Al-Rali, you and Mr. Toth for a good job that you continue doing every single day.
Thank you.
Right? Okay. Now the good part. I have to change my tone a little bit. All right. So I would second to what Mrs. White said about the convocation. Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Rali, for the wonderful convocation. It really raises the spirit of the staff members, and I heard from multiple staff members that it's really a very good thing to do. It's something new, something that brought up a lot of energy before the start of the school year. So that's something that we would continue. And I challenge Mr. Koros that Dr. Al-Rali was a better speaker than me. Okay? So he can find me where I am and do what he wants to do, but in my opinion, Dr. Al-Rali was a better speaker than George Koros. I told him that 2-3 times already, and I'm going to say that in public now. And I mean it.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
All right? So that was very good. Now, Mr. Ross, thank you so much for inviting us to all the games. We had ribbon cutting at Edison High School and J.P. Stevens with a new turf field. Very good, but Mr. Ross really brings a lot of energy at that high school. You just create a different environment, different energy, different enthusiasm, and we appreciate. And really, there was a EHS ribbon cutting, I was looking forward to go there like from last 1 week because of you, for your energy and for everything that you do to bring that enthusiasm. So thank you so much, and keep us posted anything that happens at EHS. If nothing, we will see you and feel that energy will come back, but at least that will be worth our time. So thank you so much. Now, the opening this year, right? And that's why I already mentioned about transportation issues before. So leaving that aside, this year, in my opinion, was one of the best school district opening in many, many, many years. One of the most smooth school district opening. And huge thanks to Dr. Al-Rali, you and your entire team for a wonderful, smooth school opening. At every school, there was a great dedication of all our teachers, our educators, and all our staff members who kept the children engaged and enthusiastic. This is a testament to our extraordinary commitment for our staff, for our parents, for our children, their education, and pursuit of excellence. Thank you so much, everyone, all the building principals, Dr. Al-Rali, your entire team, and all the teachers, staff members, everyone who did contribute, and all the parents. You guys did wonderful. No matter whether the bus came or not, you guys took care of your children. You did not go on strike. You went to school, had your children attend the class, and enthusiastically, you guys, help with everything that happens in Edison. So thank you so much to all the parents and all the wonderful students. And that being said, wish you all the best for a wonderful 23-24 school year. I'm sure everybody will excel, and as per the ratings say, the ratings are going to go up. We are very confident. So we'll work on that, and it's going to go up. We are very hopeful. And district, one more thing is, district, if you see the communications lately has been tremendous from the district, right? All the communication that comes to the parent. So I would like to thank Ms. Heather Daniels over here. She has been doing an awesome job communicating about everything that happens to the parents. The communication has been very clear, so thank you, Heather, for that. So there is a great team, a lot of people are at work. There's still some more hirings that has to happen to run the district, really have the district function really well, but everyone who is doing a great job every day, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Anybody else? Ms.
Madam President?
Oh, Mr. Shi?
Yeah, just one thing. So we recognized 3 students that worked in DMR, but we also have 4 students working in this law firm during the summer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we have a chance, let's recognize them.
Next month?
Yes, and we also, I think we have a couple of students worked at the our food vendor.
Yep.
I don't know how many students were also work for the other law firm, so let's all recognize them. Thank you to all the vendors for giving back to the community, to offering these opportunities to our students. And just another thing, I'm waiting for Matt to come, but I'll jump the gun on this. So on September 11th, the teacher union ratified their contract officially. This is the first ever 5-year contract with the teacher union. First ever 5-year contract with the teacher union. I'd like to thank Sri Moore, my fellow board member. I was the negotiation committee chair, but without the support of Joe Romano, without the support of Mohim Patel and Vishal Patel, this would not have happened. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Ardarelli, our BA, Mr. Toth, for spending countless and countless hours in the negotiation. And I'd also like to thank our union negotiation committee for your professionalism and also those countless hours you guys spent on this negotiation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah.
No? Let's start the public comments.
If I
Yeah.
could just very briefly, I know most of you were here before, but just as a reminder, to the extent you're here to talk about transportation, you certainly, as a member of the public, can do that, but the board is not going to have information on your specific student, and quite frankly, the board probably, even if they did, probably couldn't talk about details of specific individual student busing. So to the extent that you want to talk specifically about your student on your house, I think the best way Dr. Ardarelli had indicated is to they'll make time to talk about that. The board's not going to be in a position to say, we know what's happening with your specific street and your specific child. So with that, I just wanted to make sure that the public understands what we can and can't do.
Thank you, Matt. If you don't mind, I'd like this lady to go first. She has been waiting here for a very, very long time, so. Yeah. Sure.
Ladies first.
Always. Okay, my name is Ashima Berry, and I live at 1 Aztec Court in Edison. And I'm here to talk about the bus WV2A issue, which is a bus that transports students from Edison to Woodbridge Academy for allied health and biomedical. So I have been sending out quite a few emails starting September 11th. That was my first email, and I received a response today from Mr. Toth. Thank you for that. But I do want to make sure that the issues are understood and explained correctly and accurately as possible. So my son is the second child to be. I understand that this is a very personal issue, but it's not really as personal because there are about 25 kids who are transported on that bus, and a lot of families are impacted. So I'm talking on behalf of all of them. So my son is probably, I think, the second or the third child to be picked up from his stop at Inman Avenue. He is getting picked up about 30 minutes earlier than his scheduled time. So his scheduled time is 7:59 a.m. The school starts at 9 a.m. And he gets picked up at 7:30, and he barely makes it to school on time. The bus has been tardy quite a few times. It has not been making in time. Just since last a few days, it has been making in time, but the PM problem still persists. So the students are spending about close to 3 hours every day back and forth on the bus. And they are minded, they are high school students, their time is very, very precious. It's taking a toll on their health, it's taking a toll on their mental state, it's taking a toll on their emotional state, and they are always extremely worried about their after-school classes or after-school activities. They are barely able to make it in time to JP Stevens because one, the academy's timings are mismatched. The academy closes at 3:30, whereas JP Stevens closes at 3 p.m. And attributed to that, they lose 30 minutes. Plus their commute time back from school is about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So they are basically missing out on all of their after-school activities, which is a huge concern. Please, I would like the board to consider this. And I understand that there are other issues and there are a plethora of issues to be addressed, especially with the parents who don't have busing at all, but this is also not a petty issue. I think this is also an important issue. So I really appreciate your consideration into this. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Esteemed board, I tried to, so pardon my ignorance, I tried to bring up my issue a few minutes back, but either it was my sense of plight or the sense of guilt on the other side that even before speaking about transportation, you knew that I was talking about transportation. So you acknowledged that fact. So I am a father of two small kids going to MLK Elementary. The home is 1.6 mile away from MLK, and it falls in the subscription busing zone. In the community I live, there are 3 bus stops 100 meters apart. Roughly, if you round it up, all of the students going from the community fall in the subscription busing zone. But this year, starting from May 1st till August 31st, when there was almost like more than 3 months worth of time, either due to negligence, system glitch, or whatever reason, transportation forms for me, allowing me to apply for subscription busing were not uploaded to the parent portal. You are free to investigate what was the reason for not uploading the subscription forms for both of my kids. And I assure you, on the bus route, all of the students are subscription busing students. Now, if this was a job, okay, then this would have amounted to I not being allowed to apply for the job. Forget about getting the job or else. So this would amount to discrimination because I did not have an equal opportunity to apply for something which was a given right that I could apply for. Later you select it or not, you bump me off for some mandatory students who are living 2 miles away from the school, that is fine. But this year, you did not allow me to apply for the bus. By the time you realize this, it was already September, as you acknowledged. This should have been communicated long back. But somewhere within your department, within the functionaries of your department, there has been systematic negligence. Did they double check? Now, Mr. Patel said, we will upload health forms to Genesis portal. What if 1 or 2 health forms get missed? Would you not do an audit? Would you not do a check that did we upload the forms for all the students? Similarly, in this case, when it was transportation forms, why was there no check that did we upload transportation forms for all parents or not? Okay, that was the first point. Second, I submitted written complaint to Board of Education on this issue. I submitted email complaint to one of the board members here. It's sitting in the inbox. I got a response. Now, I agree that you have a lot of issues to deal with, but the only way even we do a job, right? The only way I feel that you are dealing with 3,000 emails is if you have a lot of marketing emails or a lot of automated emails. If you're just sitting on emails and not attending to the issues, 3,000 will go to 6,000. Okay? So this is all I had to say, that there has been discrimination in this case due to negligence, and please be accountable, whoever is functioning in the Board of Education, to prevent such kind of omissions in future. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm representing, I'll give my name, Rahul Talwar, 5 Dillon Way, but I'm not just representing Dillon myself. It's basically the entire neighborhood. And we do have a cultural event today, so a lot of parents could not make it in the neighborhood. But it's basically Dillon, Deutsch, Denver, Riviere, McKinley, the entire neighborhood. By the way, just to second what the gentleman just said regarding basically filling out the forms. So just on that point, there was no confirmation anyone received regarding the form. And one of my emails with the transportation team, in fact, one of the points Douglas told me that I hadn't even submitted my subscription, which we had. So it was another lady who I had to get on the phone with who clarified that. But anyway, just on a bigger note, thank you everyone. You know, it's whatever amazing job you guys do. So regarding our neighborhood, so for JP Stevens, the entire neighborhood, not going back 1 year, there's some narrative which has been sent that maybe we just got a subscription last year. You can go back 10 years. I've spoken to parents whose kids graduated a long time ago. They've always been getting subscription. So not getting subscription was not even something which we had in our mind. For the past 3 months, literally, I have an email trail. We have been sending to the transportation team, getting on the phone calls. Summertime, it was almost impossible to get a response. 3 months we were talking about, could we move the bus stop for our high school? And that was primarily regarding from where the kids were and where the elementary and the middle school bus comes in and where the school bus is, and there's an absence of sidewalks. Long story short, 1 week before the school opens up, we get an email that forget about the bus stop. We're not even getting subscription. And that totally hit everybody by surprise. And this is, I hats off, I know it's a big school district, everyone's doing an amazing job, but that's honestly ridiculous. Like throwing people off 1 week before and the reality is, and some of the people have brought it up, there's a big push for everybody to go back to work, right? To go back to work in person. So, you have to have empathy. And I must say that I've tried to reach out to different board members. I have to acknowledge Jerry and Beryl. Hats off to you guys, at least showing empathy, at least understanding what we guys are going through. It's a living nightmare to come to JP Stevens and we guys are trying to pull to come and pick up the kids. I have my hats off, I have so much respect for the people in the neighborhood who are being so understanding, because all the streets are blocked. And there's a big problem in congestion. Overall, we guys, even if hypothetically 1.4 to 1.6 miles is our neighborhood, even if we wanted to go and have the kids walk to school, there are no sidewalks. You guys have to consider that. There are no sidewalks on Denver. There is no sidewalk on Revere. If I'm driving my car and somebody's walking on Denver, which is the street next to from where you go on New Dover, you would literally have to come in the middle of the street because you're going to hit a kid. If somebody is walking on the street and these kids are walking with their bags, they're walking with their instruments. We're expecting kids to walk all the way. There are no guards. There are no crossing guards. How do you expect the kids to walk 30 minutes when there is no sidewalk? Whether it's a township issue, whether everybody has to come together. So now let's talk about solutions. Dr. Adlerady, thanks a lot. You've addressed our emails. Hats off to you. It's such a big school district that you can even talk to us, give us the time. But we need solutions now. Two things: we need subscription back. Having not a subscription out here, and we would have at least 20, 30 parents who would be here today, by the way. Not having subscription is not an option, and we need the street index fixed if that's the issue. So please have empathy for working parents. I'm literally begging you guys. We can't go on like this. Every day it's becoming a nightmare for us. So with folded hands, please, you guys have to do something and you do something fast. I don't know if I missed something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avi Jindal. So I have a same transportation issue. My house is 1.8 miles from the John Adams, and I sent multiple emails, and I echo this gentleman's. We did not receive any email notification this year that we have to fill any form. And when I complained that, they said, no, the notification was sent to every person. I did not receive. I said, okay, can you show that to me? We did not receive any kind of an email notification that we have to fill any kind of a transportation form for the next year. And I am following up since July 1st, and you guys have seen multiple emails from me. And the problem which, because of a wrong street indexing, it's causing so much issues. So what happened is, the street behind me, which is a McKinley Avenue, that is indexed as a subscription bus for the John Adams. So, a street, like that street is, the house behind me is also 1.8 miles. But if you go toward the Grove Avenue, those houses are 1.2 miles, but they are eligible for the subscription bus. The problem is that I'm not even able to get the private bus. When I called the Dapper buses, they said you have only 2 students in that area. So because of a wrong indexing, even the private buses, they are not able to find the students. So it's not a case of a 1350, it's not a case of a 625 that we are not willing to pay. We are willing to pay, I'm even willing to pay the whole 1350, whatever is required. I really, really badly need, me and my wife, we both work 1.5 hours from here. To pick up a student at 3 o'clock, to drop them at 8:30 is really a nightmare. We have to do a lot of these things, sacrifice from work, and we both of us, we are even having a fear that we might even lose. Someone else, then if you are every day, you are going at 2:30 or 2 o'clock from the office, or I have to pick up my kids, like the management can think that means this person is slacking from the work. So because of a poor indexing, we are not able to even get the private buses, and 1.8 mile is not a small distance for a student to walk. Whoever did the indexing, I don't think they have any idea what the W means, right? 1.2 miles, and means another problem is that I'm following up since summer, right? It was very difficult to get a hold of anyone during the summer times. And when I spoke to the transportation supervisor, he said, yes, your street is marked as a W because it is less than 2 miles. So then I asked, what is eligible criteria for the free busing? That's also 2 miles, for subscription also 2 miles, means there is no clear cutoff. There should be a clear cutoff, like 1.2 mile is a cutoff for a subscription, then it makes sense, right? And I hope, I think you guys are saying that you guys need to fix a street index. Let's not wait for the whole street index to be fixed to resolve our problems. We need a help now. I think this bleeding need to stop now. And I hope you guys will look into this, and whoever is here, I hope you guys will work and resolve our issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sapna Tripathi, 570 Grove Avenue. I met with Mr. Toth today. Similar issue, all the pain points that the other parents had. My son used to get a subscription busing, and by the way, I paid for it. It was not free. It was always marked as subscription, and it was removed abruptly. That we came to know end of August. Again, I have to go to New York every single day, and one of my kids is in JP, one is in Woodrow Wilson. How is it possible for me to pick both within 30 minutes span time? Everyone knows the traffic condition. You go to Woodrow Wilson, I stand there at the intersection of Plainfield just to get a left turn. And it's such a pain point. So I don't know what my options are. Either I change my residence and go back, somewhere 2.5 miles away so that I can get a bus. But, putting the things that we are following this street index, I don't think that's a solution. It's not justified, right? Someone needs to own that street index needs to be rectified. It's hurting so many parents, and it's a frustration. And not to mention, right, I live on the intersection of Grove and Calvert. All the 3 neighboring streets, they are getting the subscription busing. There's no criteria for subscription busing. There's no cutoff. And Grove and Calvert Avenue, everyone knows there is an accident every single month. We have been fighting for a red light there, never done. But what I'm saying, these sidewalks, you showed the presentation, and we are considering the safety and efficiency, right? What about the safety of the walkers? And subscription busing should be provided to whoever is opting for it. It's something that, what do we do now? Do I take off from work to transport my kids? Or do I take a private cab service without, what kind of verification can I personally do? So it's the safety of my child also. And in practicality, my son is waiting in the library for an hour because I have to go and pick my daughter to get back to JP and pick him up. So I really want a resolution on that, and really appreciate, I know you guys are working hard to resolve, but I would really like to know the ETA and when this can be resolved. I'd really appreciate if any resolution can be reached, as soon as possible. That's all. Thank you.
Board President, before the next speaker goes.
Yeah, Mr.
So just because I gave a speech making it clear out of my passion, like how myself and Jerry visited communities to, help people out. So just want to make it clear. So 3 messages I got. Can you help with my bus? Can you help with my bus? Can you help with my bus? For different. Okay. So I want to make it very clear. It's all the board members' role. It is not, I am not an employee of transportation, neither is Jerry Shi. is edward.eldarelli@edison.k12.nj.us. He's our superintendent. So please email, you all can feel free to reach out, all the board members, no issues. Everyone's email address is on the website. So please feel free to reach out all the board members, and certainly keep board members in the loop if you want to, if you choose to do that. And for any issues, there's no issues with that. We're here to serve, but you really have to reach out to the superintendent for the issues. And of course, Mr. Toth, jonathan.toth@edison.k12.nj.us. So just because I explained everything doesn't mean I get bombarded with like 100 messages. Plus, someone said, can you help me? My kid is this, can you help tell superintendent to give me a bus? No, well, that's not help. What myself and Jaresh did is, this room would have been full of hundreds of people today. What we did is we visited communities so that we can see it ourselves and pass on that message to superintendent. And that's exactly what we did. When we visited the communities, we passed on the message to superintendent, and then superintendent went to the streets and checked for themselves. Dr. Alrali was in another neighborhood today. There was a bus stop on Thursday. There was a bus stop issue. Dr. Alrali has been to Village Point, to Melbloom Lane, right? These are the communities Dr. Alrali has visited. So one of the things we can do is pass on their message. And everyone who has a subscription busing issue, we have passed on the message to Dr. Alrali. When the email comes, if it's only us, we will make sure we'll copy Dr. Alrali in the response. Dr. Alrali, can you please look into it? And it's up to Dr. Alrali to fix the issues or to look into it long term. What the board can do is make policies, which is the street index. It should be looked upon as a immediate basis. Buying more buses, something that board can review longer term. So those are the things that board can do. But all the hands-on thing, like bus stop, no, Brett, I'm going to go on for this. Yeah, no, I know, but we have been here, Brett, till 3 a.m. in the morning, okay? We have been in the board meetings till 3 a.m. in the morning too. We answer questions. I've been very quiet, Brett, very quiet this entire year. Right. Okay.
So, can
yeah.
I interject, please? I think we understand what board is doing. We also understand school is doing.
It's not for you. It's for the people who are listening on the video. All you guys got it. Yes, I'm not commenting on you guys.
And we understand.
I'm on the people who are sending messages like that for the video. Just reach out to the superintendent. Thank you.
Yeah. So I appreciate all the work you guys are doing. I understand the statistics, all good and well. I have only 2 questions to ask. First question is, why couldn't we plan ahead when we knew how many students are going to be enrolled, right? And who is accountable for it? Somebody said at the start, accountability is the key here. Who is accountable for this mess? And what are we doing to resolve it? I didn't hear anything from presentation, all statistics, no resolution. Means, what are we going to do with statistics? We increase this number by 900, we decrease by 200, okay? What are we doing to resolve this? The presentation didn't answer any of the questions which we had. And I know we are just venting it out, we are just expressing our concerns and reaching out to doctor alone, how much he can respond to 100 emails. I don't see one person resolving it. So my question to whoever is accountable for it, first of all, who is accountable for this mess, first of all? Nobody is pointing out to the person or team who has done this mess. Why do the things which have been working for last 10 years, why do we have to change now to create this mess? That answer I didn't get from the presentation. And then the biggest question we want to ask is, if 2.5, 1.5 is the miles eligible for busing, then why there is no clear indexing for subscription bus? After this miles, we will get this. Why there is not there, kind of thing. And this is question for last 10 years, 20 years. I'm actually surprised that nobody answered those questions which are the basic for us, basically. So my only question to you guys is, who is accountable and by when we can hear back the resolution? All good and things, agreed. Can somebody answer that question? If not today, by when we can expect an answer? That's all I want to know. Thank you.
This is Ramesh. I have 2 things. I've been living in this township for 17 years. I live in the section 3, which is, I think it's section 3 per township blueprint. we have a lot of cross-cutting traffic from the neighboring towns, Colonia, Westfield, people traveling to Metro Park and all of this, right? 8 years ago, we worked with the mayor and the township to make sure they acknowledge the traffic issues there, and we installed about 20 stop signs there. So what happened now is, because of all this thing, right, the existing bus stop was taken out, and my son has to walk 0.3 miles on that traffic where there's no sidewalks. Not just me, there's a couple of guys here. So I think, John, I've been sending an email to you. I got one response. I know you guys are working, but we need a date for this, right? So if you can respond back to the email, I'm fine, but this is a serious safety issue, right? And then the second thing is, I keep hearing that the board don't have any input to all of this change. So is this true that this was a unilateral decision taken by Dr. Anderle, by you? Who took the decision to change this entire busing system by bringing in new software, change and using a new index, all of this stuff? Can you please answer that?
The street index?
Yeah,
that
so
has been used.
like this gentleman was saying, for 10 years everything was working fine. So a decision was made to change something. Whose input was that to make the change?
There was no change. Dr. Adderley would comment that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Offline, you'll comment offline? Or?
He will comment it at the end.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Wait a little bit.
Good evening, board. I first of all appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. My name is Anand Chaudhary, and I'm in the same boat as this gentleman, all others. My son is in JAMS. He's an 8th grader, and he was a subscription busser last year. And I felt like, though I didn't get any notification that I need to fill the form, I filled the form in anticipation. Like, I look at the link, I filled the form in proper time, and I also met but my subscription was denied. I met Mr. John on the transportation department. I explained him. He put me on wait list. They're still finding the solution. He did mention about the street index change, etc. I did reach out to board, I think board member Biral Patel, he answered my query. But yeah, we need to get the solution ASAP to stop this bleeding. And my house is 1.7 miles from JAMS, and it's no way he can walk for 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and there are no sidewalks in the middle of McKinley and some portions. So there is safety issue as well as other things. So I'll appreciate if you can give the solution ASAP to stop this bleeding. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vijay Parikh, living in 201 West Sherman Avenue. So each year I have to go to transportation department to fix my daughter's bus stand. This year they have corrected that, but for my son, they assigned a 0.3 mile from my house. He is a 6-year-old, and surprisingly they removed the bus stop where we have 7-8 kids are going from the same bus stops, elementary students, and right now for the middle school and high school, same bus stop is there, but the elementary school, they remove the bus stop. So how this is happened? Also regarding the street index of our West Sherman Avenue, my street is not a small street. It's almost a 0.3 to 0.4 mile. And the street next to me or after me, both has two type of buses, subscription and free bus. But for our street, it's always showing subscription bus or not a free bus. So, and this, when I really went to transportation department, they said, oh, new software is there. We measure this stuff. We check the convenience for the student. They can reach on the time. But there are the same bus, which is picking my son from the bus stop, is going from the bus stop which was till last year, it is going from the same route, but they removed that bus stop. But the bus is going from the same route and picking from the another destinations. So I would suggest, please, because 0.3 mile is not a small for the small kids, and in the winter where the where temperature is below 30 degree, 8 minutes to walk. I measure with my son. We went from my house to that bus stop, 8 minutes walk. There is no sidewalks. It's a old houses are on that neighborhood. 5 blocks we have to walk. So I would suggest, please address this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Harish?
So I'll come straight to the point. Thanks, Viral, for giving all the background. It was very helpful, so at least most of us don't have to repeat that. So talking about ideas and solutions, there are a lot of suggestions and ideas that came from different
Harish,
parents.
maybe a little closer to the mic. Yes.
Please make sure you give your name and address for the record, please.
Harish Thatineni, 45 McKinley Street. So a long-term solution, next year, as you guys said, we'll fix the index and then inform in advance and all that. I can add a couple of more items to that, but this is probably not the right time. We can meet Dr. Alderelli afterwards, and we talked about some 2-tier subscription model, and most important thing, as Biral said, transparency and communication. So if these 2 things are taken care of, that much pain wouldn't be there. Pain would still be there, of course, because the problem has to be solved. But so for next year, obviously, what we thought that a survey would be very helpful to all the parents who are below 2.5 for middle and high school as applicable, and whether they want to go for the subscription or not. And we suggested 2-tier subscription busing. Some parents are there who are willing to pay full cost. Some parents wanted discounted price. So for the discounted price parents, you can have the efficient model with fewer stops. For the parents who are willing to pay full price, you can have it, I'm not saying right at their doorstep, but something more reasonable. So anyway, we'll talk about this. I don't want to waste the time. A lot of people are waiting. So right now, what we know as of today, by the way, again, my daughter is not affected by this busing issue, so it's nothing personal. So we thought, our understanding is that you are looking into the discounted subsidized lunch applications who would also automatically be eligible for the subscription busing, and that would be finalized by probably 16th October or so. Then you will know how many more vacancies are there. Then you will try to adjust all the affected kids in the nearest stop. That's a good thing. So parents specifically want to know, even after 16th, if someone is not accommodated, then what is the plan? I mean, we need to address that today. Some plan has to be there. What we thought that for this year, just for this year, whatever it takes, if we have to hire above market rate additional drivers, let's do that. And for this year, let's resolve this issue. But from next year onwards, let's plan things well in advance. A lot of parents suggested the specific timelines also. Again, I don't want to go into all those details. We can talk afterwards. But for this year, we definitely want to know what the action plan is after that. And for the long term, of course, as always, whether transportation is always a pain issue every year. Every year, first 1 month, it's a mess. So should this be made a goal of transportation director? I do not know. I mean, those things can be discussed, but it would be great if you could tell what you are planning to do after October 16th for the kids whom you are not able to accommodate. There are a lot of other things, but I think I'll come afterwards for the other topics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any, Ms. Conway?
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle. I just want to say transportation issue is as old as the world has begun. My children went through this 30 years ago. So things change as the sun changes, so you do what you have to do. But that's not why I'm here. Number one, with the new position of the assistant superintendent, you gave an overview of what his job would be, but is there a job description that would say like what his background would be? And because I tried looking on the website and could not find it.
I have a copy. I have a copy of that. That should have been attached with regards to that. So yeah, multiple credentials, doctorate, actually the proper certification, master's degree required, doctoral level preferred, a list of qualifications, which I actually have right here, which I could show you right after this. It should have been there. Yeah, and it should have been up there. Okay.
No. And my monthly request for the meeting minutes. I'm not asking for particulars, but the meeting minutes would come in handy to know what is going to be discussed. Actually, Joe had let me know what was discussed, the overview at the transportation meeting of September 5th, and I truly appreciated that because I knew what was going to be spoken about. But I have not received or seen anywhere, whether it be online or on paper, regarding the minutes. And when the board members give out their minutes, they're really not minutes, because I can tell that I used to be able to just read them from what I had typed up. And I know that a lot more has been added to it, which is fine, but if the public could get at least the minutes, the bullet points of what was discussed at the meetings, it would be truly appreciated.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Conway.
you.
Thank you. Any other, Matt? After Matt.
Good evening, Matt Revnak, Vice President of ETA. So, Mr. Shi, you put me on the spot. I didn't intend to get up, but again, I do thank you guys as well. Yes, the teachers and our support staff, pretty overwhelmingly did ratify the contract. And, it is a 5-year deal. So we know that, what's going on for the next 5 years at least. I think everybody should be happy with it. It's fiscally responsible. But in addition, everybody's seeing some money, but there's issues that we try to resolve to help the district, help our students, and those other things are as important in the contract, as well as the money and health benefits and everything else we do. So I also thank the board for your time and efforts. I thank our teams, like you said, and I thank you for acknowledging it, countless hours. Ours is definitely a year in advance we start, and so I really thank them. I also want to thank in presenting our contract, we did use some of the buildings. So Mr. Ross, I know, is here from Edison High School. In fact, he helped me set up for the sound system and everything else. I appreciate it. Over at Herbert Hoover, we actually presented it there to our reps. And here at JP Stevens, Mr. Robinson and Mr. Ray helped me also set up and everything else. So we appreciate the use of the facilities to present it to our people. And again, especially, people don't realize it's never over. Now we got to get it to print, so I know we are working on that, and we'll be continuing to work with Mr. Toth and Dr. Aldarelli, on eventually finalizing everything and getting it out and, finally, hopefully putting it to rest. The nice thing is we don't have to turn around by the time we get it published and start worrying about the next one. It is a couple extra years before that happens. So we do appreciate it. And again, thank you for the kind words. And, it's always a team, it is always a team effort. Two other things I do want to mention, or 3 other things. First of all, I brought up here, ETA, in addition to what we do, is a lot of community things. We have a couple events coming up in October. The first one is actually our Boscals. It's on October 18th. Mrs. Campione actually runs the committee for scholarship, and it's our Friends Helping Friends, we call it. The money goes to scholarships for our students in both high schools. And you get a 25% off pass that day at Boscov's, and it costs you $5 to buy these. The $5 goes toward the scholarships. And I know I go every year, and I usually save about $50 when the bill comes in. So for the $5, I'm way ahead of the ballgame for things that I need. So anybody that's interested, contact, again, Mrs. Campione, or our buildings reps have them in the individual buildings. The second event I want to mention coming up on October 22nd is our annual trunk or treat over at Menlo Park School. That's from 12 to 3. We hope for good weather as always. One year we did get rained out, but hopefully we'll have some nice weather. It's a wonderful event for the community. We have, I believe Jeff said last year we went through like 75,000 pieces of candy we give out to the kids. We're looking for even more. We have other activities, a DJ, we have a book reading station. We also, usually we have our other, affiliates, custodians. I know Mr. Ross is always there handing out candy for the administrators. Police, fire usually come down with their vehicles. We have two, the dogs that come out, the service dogs, service animals. So it's a wonderful day. Dress up in your costumes, come out and enjoy 3 hours. And, I invite the board members as well. I know many of you have been here in the past, and the administration, to come out. It really is a nice affair for the entire, Edison community. And ETA is very proud of it, something that we've been doing for a number of years now, and it's been a very wonderful event. The other thing I like to just say is, I know it's a little past the date, but happy Rosh Hashanah to those that apply. We didn't have a board meeting before then. And also Yom Kippur is Monday, so I know it's their holiest day of the year in their religion. Happy Holy and observing Yom Kippur. Thank you.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Good evening, residents and parents of many high school and middle school students, and also elementary. I really empathize on the issue that we have, the transportation issue. We have to recognize the new things that have come through the Board of Education team. Thanks to the new sports, volleyball, cricket, that really needed for our community. We have been lagging behind the sports. I have heard from, as a committee member, I have heard from the other residents saying, we are lacking in the sports. Our school rating is down. But with the introduction of these new sports and also the improvement of significant improvement in the infrastructure, also will add it to the betterment of our Edison schools. And I also should thank our Board of Education, Jerry Shee, and Dr. Alderali and others who have helped us. For our community, Westgate Square, where I live in, there was a safety issue where the current bus was stopping. I had reached out to them in end of June, and they have empathized on it, and they immediately took action and made the bus at a safest stop. I really thank you on behalf of all our residents and parents. It's about 600 houses you are representing, and we have been commuting, taking our kids directly to the school. We are increasing the traffic now that new change has decreased, and all of them, thank you by person. And I also thank many of the residents that have given many solutions. I work for a corporate company where parents themselves volunteer. So we have to put 40 hours of our time. So I myself attended in Camden, where I work. I volunteered my time to help the teachers in Camden. So you might want to think where you can utilize the parents' voluntary time in order to streamline many of the things that you think you cannot accomplish. So we as a community, we can come together and make this a great thing. Okay, I thank you for your time. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yeah, Mr. Shi.
So if you know anyone who can teach machine learning and AI, I would love to talk to them.
Sorry, I forgot to mention one point, actually, particularly for John Adams School. If you have noticed, the construction has impacted a lot, not only the busing, but the parents dropping the kids as well. I saw Mr. Shi on, I think, 3 days back. You must have seen the chaos that was caused, that is still causing. Today also, like if you must have noticed, like the police officer must be known about this fact that exactly at 8:40, 8:45, there is an accident just at the exit of JAMS parking lot. So the construction behind on the Fremont that has blocked the Fremont way to enter the students, that does also cause this traffic, not only to the school bus but also to the parents. So the school buses or all the students, they are almost like getting up late to the school for their first period. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yeah, Mr. Shi.
So if you go to the back of John Adams tomorrow morning, go check it, okay? So you probably just came a little late. Our grounds crew has cleaned up the back of the Adams. We're gonna put a path in there. Okay, there was an old fence that was taken out. It's pretty wide path. We're gonna put it in. Again, that is a wetland, so not a lot of much we can do, but we'll put a path in there. Go there tomorrow morning, because I just went there this afternoon. And, I see Mr. Colliber sitting in the back. Thank you. All right, we just talked about, what, 3 days ago, last week? You already cleaned up the whole path. Thank you so much.
So the walkway is going to be there. Thank you.
Right.
Anyone? Brett?
Good evening, Brett Baker, 140 Grandview Avenue. I'll be quick. Didn't plan to talk about transportation, but just some thoughts that came up, if it would be helpful, through the chair to the Transportation Committee, the Superintendent BA. Perhaps as a district, we could convene like a listening and learning session. Like, I hear it, Bureau. I feel your pain, man. I get it. Like, there's a reason I haven't come to board meetings lately, because I can't be here till 3 a.m. But perhaps a transportation, like listening and learning session, where we could invite elected members from the council, from the State Board of Education, our legislators who control the law that subsidizes the district for those outliers, right? Can we get the 2 miles down to 1.5 in areas like Edison and Jersey City and things like that, that are street heavy and sidewalk light? We can talk all day in these rooms, but I've got 15 years working in school and district operations as well, and it's the people in Trenton who control the keys to the money that make it possible for subscription busing and things like that. So just a thought regarding a listening and learning. I showed up late but was listening on YouTube, and first off, thanks to the crew that puts this on YouTube, because I wouldn't have heard it otherwise. I slipped in, heard Mr. Shi talk about breakfast being free, and I don't know if that had been talked to prior to that, and if not, I would just like to applaud this district for making breakfast free for the 17,000+ students. It is an important and scientifically proven step towards making an equitable learning experience for students. And so to all of you on this board, and I know many of you, we've had our disagreements, I applaud all of you for the hard work. And Dr. Adarelli, congratulations on your appointment as superintendent.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful, beautiful thing to be at kindergarten orientation. I'll talk about that in a second at James Monroe. And to hear Mrs. Tafaro announce, like literally, she's like, I just heard. And I was like, that is just the most phenomenal thing. So applause to this district. It was also wonderful hearing and seeing a staff convocation. As a former educator, it's a phenomenal way to start the year with a ton of enthusiasm. I've seen it carry over in the Monroe teachers. Teachers are talking about it. They're posting about it. And something unique that I've never seen before tonight. I loved what I heard from Dr. Aldarelli and Mr. Toth about learnings from the transportation and commitments to improving. I'm blessed to live walking distance from James Monroe. It takes me 10 minutes. I've timed myself now. But I feel and I can empathize with the pain of those who are struggling with transportation. But never since I've moved here in 2016 have I heard anybody employed by this district say, here's what we've learned, we own it, we are accountable, and we're going to work on it. So I just want to applaud the two of you for saying that. And finally, on a little bit of selfish note, praise for this entire board for bringing back full-day kindergarten, and the board leadership going back to Dr. Heelan, up to Mr. Schneider for bringing it back. I've spent 6 years standing at this podium talking about full-day kindergarten, and 2 weeks ago my son walked through James Monroe as the second class of full-day kindergarten students at James Monroe, and it is a blessing to have full-day kindergarten in this district, and I know it did not come easy, and I know it was not hard. I know it was not easy, and I know it's been hard, but the staff at James Monroe are phenomenal. I know every elementary school has phenomenal teachers, and full-day kindergarten is hands down the best thing that I've seen since I moved here in 2016.
I want to give public praise to the James Monroe staff for their events and their start of year communication, their happiness. I used to stand here and say I'm a parent of a future James Monroe Owl, a Herbert Hoover Eagle, and an Edison. Sorry, I'm tired. I apologize, Mr. Ross. But anyways, you all get where I'm going with that. But it's now, Roshan's in kindergarten. I'm honored to say that I'm finally a parent of an Edison student. And I'd also like to publicly and on the record ensure that Mr. Ross hands Roshan his diploma in 2037, which makes me feel old, so I apologize, Mr. Ross. And lastly, I'm exhausted, as all are the many of them at Monroe. We had an ice cream social tonight, a PTO meeting, and yet I walk into this room late because I was coming from that, and I see Mr. Ross and a handful of other educators, and you all here, and on a late night, I just tip my hat to all of you, so thank you. I trust that my son and my daughter in a few years are in great hands, so thank you very much.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
See, no more comments? Doctor, you want to address?
Yeah, yes, so there was
You want to wait until this, after this? Okay.
So listen, we all, there was a couple individual issues specific to communities and parents. The one thing I do want to address is the accountability aspect, right? And the pre-planning component and the street index, right? And the notion that the street index was changed. I can assure you, as interim, when I took over, I think I took over in December of last year, up until now, we have not, no one has changed the street index. Foolishly, I thought we were following it, to be honest with you. I thought that over the past 12 years since we've instituted the index, that we were actually following it, right? That people that were labeled as an S got subscription, and people that were labeled as a W were walkers. That's the learning curve for me, to be honest with you. I thought we were actually executing it the way that it should have been based off of board policy. I learned very quickly that we weren't. In the absence of that, listen, I'm governed by those. I'm governed by this document. That being said, I know it is flawed. You will get absolutely no argument from me, right? Within the 1.6 miles, and my neighbor gets it, and the street behind me in the community, and we've gotten it for years. I totally get it. I do. That being said, we are going to triage this. We are going to look for viable solutions that will address the inequities within the street index, right? We're constantly looking at bus stops too. I don't want you to think that we're not looking at bus stops. If the bus stop, if changing a bus stop results in efficiency and safety, we will 100% do it. We've been proactive in doing that too. So I don't want you to think that we're dismissing those bus stops. And if you're bringing it to our attention, and I can ensure that it's got a safety issue component to it, and it improves efficiency, we will 100% look at that. We've done so. Yeah.
And as Dr. Aldarelli said, and not only do we look at obviously the metrics when you do a stop change and you put the route in a computer software to see what it does to the route timing. We go out to the scene and see it, because you want to see the real life elements. What's traffic? What does the stop look like in terms of a tertiary road, a secondary road, a main road? So, we're constantly evaluating those things, and if we can make it better and still keep it efficient, that's what we want to do.
And from an accountability standpoint, I'm going to tell you right now, it's me. I'm accountable. Every member on this stage currently, or on the dais right here, holds me accountable. I hold my staff accountable for that. We assembled a transportation department in late March, to be honest with you as well. Our goal was to make sure that kids were getting on school on time and bus the mandated people. I understand that had a direct effect on subscription as well as the inequities in the street index. I can only tell you that you got my commitment that we're going to look at it. And I think we have some pretty viable solutions, not only some that were proposed today, but others that Mr. Toth and I, as well as the transport team, has been floating around. And I'm confident that it will be better. It won't be perfect. Right, and somebody had mentioned before what happens, like when we've exhausted it, and we still have people on the subscription list, right? Which is a reality. There might be more people that apply for subscription that we're able to accommodate buses. We won't be able to accommodate them. Is my answer. There's a threshold of seats on the bus. There's only so many empty seats. So you got my commitment that we're going to fill them, that we're going to look at those pieces, and we're going to provide an equitable solution to this problem. That is what I can promise. I don't know if you want to.
No, and that's accurate. I mean, we want to, give this opportunity to as many people as we can possible, right? But in a fair and equitable way, right? That's the goal of everybody sitting up here. So that's what we're going to do. And yes, we will develop a stopgap triage. But at some point, we may develop an additional list, right? And we might not be able to offer this to everyone. That's the reality of the situation. There may be more people interested in than we can secure buses, whether it be hiring drivers, getting contracts, because at some point, it just may be too much. But we'll do everything we can to make it available to, most of the people that we can.
And I just want to close with, first of all, I really do appreciate your patience and understanding. This was a really respectable discourse between the two. I understand that you're frustrated, and I do appreciate the respect that you've shown on the dais today, and I can assure you, your voices are heard.
Thank you.
Soon.
One more.
Just for the record, Dr. Adari.
It's not a debate.
By the way, there is this narrative that the street index hasn't changed is wrong.
I'm sorry, real quick. I think the board officially closed public comment.
So,
No.
Just a quick comment, because I know for a fact that our elementary and middle school for our street, which is a new street about 4 years ago, was marked as W and it was changed to subscription.
I can't speak to 4 years ago. I can tell you right. Oh, okay.
I'm saying in the past 2 or 3 years, it's been changed.
Yeah. Why don't?
Regarding the safety you are saying, sir, so 0.3 mile is a more safetier or less than 0.1 mile is a more safetier where the heavy traffic is on the road? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Any more comments? Yeah. You have to go to the podium.
So let me add something, Madam President, if I may. So I think the issue that we all heard, it's the root cause is the index, right? So, and you heard from Dr. already, his commitment, we're gonna fix the index. And we just talked yesterday that, we don't know all the streets, every corner of Edison. So we're gonna go reach out to parents, have a parent advisory committee to help us to work on this index. So you have our commitment, and we'll continue to work on it.
Thank you.
This is Satya Golabudi from A. Dillon Way. From the presentation, I noticed that there was an 8% increase in the subscription usage.
Okay.
Do we know why there is an 8% increase in a year? And do we have projections as to what it will be next year?
What is that? What is the question?
There are 800 students that increased, right? That's close to an 8% increase in the usage of the busing.
Yeah,
so that looks very unnatural in a year.
Sure, I can answer that for you. That means that 859 students, in addition from last year, we had to bus by law. 859 additional students, which again limits the access to seating at that time. We had an enrollment.
I understand that 859 increased, but that looks very unnatural for 1 year. That's like close to an 8% increase.
You have new enrollment and you have kids changing from one school to the other school who becomes eligible for free busing.
Yeah.
So that's exactly my point. It looks very unnatural for a year. Can somebody look into it and find out what happened there?
I'm not sure I follow the question, but listen, and I think too.
But I think they vetted all 800
It looks very
students.
unnatural to have 8% increase in a year.
Can you?
Perhaps we could talk offline.
Yeah,
we
I'm going to
can
come over
talk
and
offline.
talk to the gentleman right after this too. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Last.
Harish Tatineni, 45 McKinley Street. So anyway, I made my point what I thought was the right thing to do for this year. For next year, I'm absolutely with you. We are all willing to work with you. Clean out the index, everything. If someone is not eligible, end of story. Just inform him in advance so that he's prepared.
I agree.
For this year, I told you what is the best thing to do. I mean, whether you can do it or not, that's, I will leave that to you. So anyway, moving on from transportation then. So jams traffic, I know it already came up, and thank you to Jerry Shee for being on top of that. As I always said on social media, like when we are upset about something, we may become emotional, frustrated, sometimes yell, whatever, back and forth, unnecessary. But it's very important to give credit where it is due. It's very important to put the blame where it belongs to. So we talked about transportation, and obviously we are not happy about that, the situation. But when someone is taking extra initiative, going over the weekend in rain and looking and being on top of things, pushing people to get the solution, we have to recognize that in public. And so thank you very much, Jerry Shee, for taking care of the jams issue. I know we are in regular touch and discussions about additional things that can be done for JP from either Laura or Floyd or whatever from New Dover, or the revised traffic patterns that we are discussing. Again, I'm willing to sit with you, Dr. Elderelli, and discuss what is possible, what is not possible. You have to decide, because you are the head of the administration, and we can work on that. So there are two more minor points that I wanted to bring up. So one of the complaints obviously was about the tickets. Help Desk was a great initiative 3 years back. I remember I interviewed Jerry Shee, Virginia White, and Moin Patel as a part of the Wake Up group when they were running for election 3 years back. And we talked about certain things, and a lot of promises have been kept, including the 0% tax. So again, hats off to you, not just for 1 year, but for 3 consecutive years. So regarding the help desk, yes, that was a good initiative that has been introduced. So some more slight fine-tuning needs to be done for that. As of now, what a lot of parents have complained is, our issue is not resolved, the ticket is closed, the response is rude. Okay, the response is rude, that's a different issue on the telephone. So, but regarding the ticket, can we introduce, can we tweak the system a little bit by adding a mandatory rating on a scale of 1 to 5 before the ticket is finally closed? So that, because as of now, a lot of tickets are being closed without being provided any resolution, and that is not really the true accurate metrics of how many tickets we resolved. So we need this mandatory 1 to 5 scale rating, so that whoever opened the ticket gives that rating, then only the ticket can be permanently closed. And it would be great if you guys could share that feedback in every BOE meeting, like last month this many tickets, or last 3 months this many. This was the average rating, this many got 5-star or whatever. And so one more thing that I wanted to, that I personally observed, and a lot of parents also brought it to our attention. I mean, we all understand we have a long list of problems in Edison. Let it be EHS or JPS or JAMS or Woodrow or John Marshall or whatever. So obviously overcrowding is number one priority, and we talked about the short-term and long-term solution. Short-term solution, expansion of the schools. Long-term solution, if we have a pot of gold, we can build a new school, which we don't have, by the way. So we'll not discuss that right now. And again, as facilities chair, Jerry Shee is doing a great job in terms of the infrastructure upgrades over the summer, and we want this to continue. And next biggest item is obviously the JPS expansion next year. It is not only the most overcrowded school in Edison, but also the 7th most overcrowded in NJ. And I'm not saying this, newspapers are saying that. So without any delay, let's push those applications. And as I always said on social media, I preach what I teach. I'm not gonna play 2 games at 2 different places. It has to be cost-effective solution, yes. So ideally, I also want a new school, but we don't have the money. There's no education fund. We are not getting grants from Fed or the state. So yes, expansion is the way to go. So let's work on that quickly and get it done ASAP. So after overcrowding, a lot of parents, obviously, they complained about AC. And It is a nice thing to have, but do we have the money? Should we stop solving overcrowding and go for AC? Absolutely no. Everybody agrees to that. But one thing I noticed, like especially in jams, because I go there for the Hindi USA class for my daughter, and a lot of rooms don't have even 2 fans. Now that is a serious problem. I think at a minimum, every class should have 2 good quality rotating fans in every school, every classroom in every school. And this doesn't cost much. Again, we did a lot of cost analysis about AC portable units, 20 amps line outside, new wiring, this, that, this. We can talk whenever you are free, weekend, late evenings, whenever. I can share everything what has been discussed. Some are good ideas, some are not so very good ideas. So you are the final decision maker, BOE and administration. So, but at a minimum, I think asking for 2 fans per every classroom in every school is not a big ask. And we do have the money for fans. I mean, it costs like what, $57 in Costco, the tower rotating fan. And I hear that sometimes the students bring it or the teachers bring it. That's not a good thing. It doesn't look well reputation-wise. Also safety-wise, it's not a good thing because we don't know how old that is and if there is a short circuit, what will happen and all those things. So if you could please take this up before next summer. We have enough time for this.
We do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. No more. Motion to close the public comments?
Motion.
Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
See you next
Thank you.
meeting.
Good night.